center. Thomas back, still back, on the track, at the wall. See ya! It's a new career high, 36 home runs.
This is Dirt and Sprague.
Swinging a line drive to hold it short, and out of hop off the glove of Rivas into left field for a base hit. Freeman will score. Another run in here in the bottom of the fifth. The Dodgers now leading 5-1. That's a base hit for Teoscar Hernandez.
With Andy Dirt Johnson and Brendan Sprague.
At the end of the day, I feel like I'm better than Patrick Mahomes because of my IQ of the game.
Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
All right, 6:02 in the Rose City. Time for Dirt and Sprague on Portland Sports Leader 1080 The Fan. Oh, good morning. Happy Thursday, everybody. How are we doing? How are we feeling?
What is happening?
We're feeling good. We're feeling great.
Feeling refreshed.
Oh, yes, we are.
You ready to go run 37 miles this weekend?
17.6,
Woo,
bitch.
buddy. You ready to go?
Gonna put that in a bumper sticker on the back of your car too?
You should. 17.6 with the bitch. The bitch has got to be in there too. You don't just
17.6 comma
bitch.
Yeah.
17.6. Nobody will understand what you're doing there. What is this? Not a half marathon, not a full marathon. I'm a little confused. You put the bitch maybe with a mountain next to it. Now we all get it. We all understand.
It's an event that, like, man, when you do it, it's so much fun, but you're very nervous and you have no idea how truly ready. Like, some people are just absolute animals.
Lunatics.
They run past you. You look at them and you go, you're different. Good job.
You're built different.
Good job.
Good job.
Good job.
Yeah, I'm not that fast.
This is a year that's interesting because I was in probably the best shape of my life, and then I had, like, a nerve or something happened in my left leg. I've already had a bad knee since college because I had knee surgery and I couldn't afford physical therapy. And God bless the medical system and healthcare and USA. We're great.
USA.
We're a great nation. And so the knee's already a little bad, and then I had some hamstring, groin, calf stuff with nerve stuff. I haven't run in 12 days.
That's not good.
But I don't think I've lost my conditioning.
No, I think you'll be okay. I don't think you can lose it in 12 days.
You're a string bean. You're not. You'll be fine.
You'll be fine. You'll be all right.
Thank you.
Everything will be okay.
I don't know if that's a compliment.
No, it is. For a runner, that's definitely a
Yes.
compliment. Yeah. In general life, if somebody just calls you a string bean, I don't think it's a compliment.
It doesn't sound like a compliment.
But if you're talking about the ability to run long distances and they're like, you're a string bean, you'll be okay, I think that's a compliment. I think that means you're a good runner.
I appreciate that, but I probably feel as good today.
Let's go.
Because of foam rolling and stretching last night than I have in 2 weeks.
Hell yeah,
So we'll see. I've got to pack, got to clean a little more. It's going to be a busy little Thursday after the show.
My issue whenever I run outdoors, and this is why whenever I do run, which is not very often, but when I do, I'm more of a treadmill guy, is that I have a really hard time controlling pace.
Okay, I have a problem with this. Can I interrupt you?
Sure, go ahead. Runner to non-runner, what do you got for me?
Well, don't do that. I got my little brother to do this, and he's a vanity weightlifter.
Okay. Like he just does a lot of curls in front of the mirror.
Vanity, chest, arms, chest,
buys and tries.
Buys, tries.
That's all he's doing.
That's he wants to walk around svelte.
Sure, wear the cutoff tee, look good in the summer.
But he's got a little baby gut, and his legs aren't specifically toned. Like he's a vanity guy.
Get on the squat rack, buddy. What are we doing?
And he doesn't run. So I convinced him. I basically used death against him. I said,
You're gonna die if you don't do this.
If I die, we would never have anything to look back because we're very different people. He's my half brother technically, and so it's like we don't really hang a lot, and we don't have a lot of similarities.
It's a hell of a guilt trip right there. If I die in the next 6 months, what memories will you have of me?
Don't underestimate the power of death.
That's a powerful thing.
You're going to use it for Teddy when you want to hug one day. Daddy,
I'm going to be dead one day.
Might not come back home.
That's
Actually,
right.
Speaking of death, I think that almost happened to my wife and I last night. The natural gas on our stove got left on somehow, or I think our cat might have absolutely. I don't know.
Just tweaked the little.
Yeah, just a little bit. Like
Schultze's high on gas this morning.
It was quite at about 10 o'clock. My wife and I are showering, and she's like, I smell gas. And we both literally I do too. We run out of the shower.
Open the windows.
Yeah, open the windows.
We run out of the shower?
Whoa.
Yes. We have a shower. That
we
both
were in
fit
the shower at the same time?
Dude, spit on that thing.
Yeah, maybe not.
There is not a debate of who the freakiest person at the fan is.
Not a debate at all.
Even the casual things like
Not even
cleaning
close.
your butt. It's
Not
just
even
like, we're
close.
doing this together.
Let's do it together.
No,
Dude, get right to the meat.
Schulte to his wife in the shower. What are you doing over there?
No, dude, get right to the meat.
You just casually dropped the "we got out of the shower"
You
thing.
did. Yeah.
Well,
Pretty
'cause,
well.
I mean, it was a pretty sudden situation, but thankfully we.
But I think you wanted us to
I think
see
you
if
wanted
we
to
picked
know,
up
yeah.
on the "we" in
Yeah,
the
you
shower.
wanted
part.
not particularly.
You
No,
wanted
was
us to
just
know right
scared.
there.
Was describing it as it happened because we were.
Do you just like shower all the time together? Honest question.
3/4 of the time.
Honest. 3/4 of the time you
You
shower
guys
together.
shower together?
I'd say so. Yeah.
Are there
Wow.
two heads?
Yeah. There's not two heads, but there's like two seats. So we've
You
got
have, like,
enough
a
room to
handicap
Sit down
shower?
in the shower?
You
Well,
guys
like,
have handicap shower?
No, but what I'm saying is that there's enough room to where, like, if you wanted to, like, you can actually sit. So there's more than enough room for both of you to kind of stand. And
You
want to
be? I can see it.
Hold on, I got a question.
Like the wife
Okay.
and I have done that before. I'm not a huge fan of it because then, unless something fun is happening, like if it just sheerly is for the purpose of showering,
Yeah.
then one of you gets, and then you're not in the water rotation.
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
standing on the other side and I'm
Yeah.
cold.
We've
It's
got
just,
one. It's like a massive kind of rain shower head. So I mean, we both
Humble.
can. We both can have one.
Dude.
What are you making over
You
there?
have got a sex
God,
dojo.
dude.
I think Schulte has a sex dojo.
I think he does, yeah.
I think everything in your house is custom designed to make sweet, passionate love with your lady anytime, any place.
Is there not a swing hanging from your ceiling?
There's no swing, but there
Okay.
may or not be a couple of drawers that contain some things.
Do you have a pole coming down from a ceiling in your house somewhere?
No stripper poles,
No?
swings.
No.
I've invited everybody over from the fan, like
Whoa,
for like
whoa,
a Super Bowl
whoa,
party
whoa,
and a
whoa.
Halloween party, just so
Not a
like you
pineapple
could all
guy.
see to prove.
No
swing, none of that crap.
No.
hanging
See,
around my house.
This is where I'll interrupt you. You're a quagmire.
What a total side.
You have a normal house, and then when people leave,
Yes.
giggity, you got buttons where
Yeah.
things pop out and
Yeah.
transform into love-making devices.
Without a doubt.
You are absolutely a quagmire.
We got the lights that change in the house. We've definitely got some ambiance.
You see what I'm
setting
saying
stuff.
here, though? Like, you...
That's not just for the, but and
Well-
holidays too. But it can be used for that.
I got to be honest with you. I'm just out in general of showering together. I get the efficiency of the water stuff, but like it just does. It's harder for me. I'm 6 foot. My wife is 5 foot.
Yeah, there's a bit of a size gap there.
There's some logistical problems that we don't have a handicap shower with seats and stuff.
It's not a handicap shower. I'm trying to say that it's just big enough for two people to comfortably be in. At
But
the
you
same
said
time.
sit down.
I have a handicap shower in my house. I think
Do
I
you?
bought my house from a couple of olds. There's like a bar, you can hold on to a bar,
Yeah,
one of those, and there are two seats in my shower.
Well, every luxury shower I've been to, like you go to a 4-star hotel, they've got big seats in there. It's
Yeah.
not because it's like meant for handicapped people. It's because you're meant to do whatever you want. Relax, not relax, shower alone or not. Like there's multiple options for you.
Oh, congratulations on the sex before turning off your gas.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't die last night. That would have been a hell of a way to go.
No, dying during sex is probably everybody's way to go if
That's
they're
a pretty
going,
good way
right?
to go. Also, a pretty funny way to find somebody. Like, where are they in the house? Oh, they're just in the shower. They're just both in there.
I think one of my favorite celebrity admissions ever came via Howard Stern interview years ago. Matthew McConaughey,
yes.
in the height of his Oscar-winning run there, said that his dad had died by making sweet, passionate love to his mom, like literally in the middle of the session. And when they brought him out, he was naked. And his body was to be carried out, and she demanded them take him out butt naked, no sheet, so everybody could know that he had a unit.
Yeah, could appreciate it on the way out.
And it was, yeah.
That's
So,
the most McConaughey thing I've ever heard.
One last salute.
One last, hey, congratulations, sir.
Yes.
To the end of that story, didn't McConaughey's dad predict that? He said,
Yeah.
I think I'm going to die in
Yes.
bed with your mother.
He did. He said, I'm going to die,
Yeah.
going at it with mom. And
Humping.
he had a heart attack.
How about that?
Terrifying for the lady in that situation, I'd imagine.
I would imagine, depending on the position, especially.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, you keel over on top.
Do you see it, or are you not looking the same direction?
Yeah, if
You
it's
know
one of
what I mean?
those like Kramer falls asleep on the lady on the couch thing. She thinks he's dead. All of a sudden, he's in the East River. If you're on top, that's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, see, that sounds good, but maybe for you, the dying one, but the other one.
The other one, that's hell for them.
Scary.
It's a good way to go for you, but for them,
Well,
miserable.
It could be, but a heart attack sometimes goes a little longer than you think, unless
It
it's a
does.
massive, and then it's like instantaneous, like little pain, dead.
Yes.
And if that's what happened, then good for him.
Yeah.
But if not, it's like,
We just got totally sidetracked
This
there.
took a weird turn.
Oh, yeah, back to the treadmill thing.
Yeah, you're talking about running with your brother. And then Schultz started showering with his wife.
He didn't want to do it because he says that he can only run on the treadmill. And I think you guys are psychos. I don't know how people run on treadmills. I find it to be the most boring thing to do.
I mean, it's not ideal. That's why I don't do it that often.
I always look down and I'm like, I've run a 1/10 of a mile.
Yeah, the key is having something on the television that will distract you enough.
It doesn't do it for me.
See,
I've tried.
And I could do that. Like, mainly there has to be some sporting event on. Like, if I can turn on a football game, like I did this weekend ago with the preseason game, I was like, all right, just turn a game on. And then you can kind of out of sight, out of mind. You're not really paying attention. Next thing you know, 25, 30 minutes goes by, and you're like, all right, that's enough. I'm done for the day. And then you get off. It's not a super long run, but I do have the problem when I run outdoors of, like, I run too fast right out of the gate. I can't just, like, go nice and slow
Really?
and
I
ease
have
my
to
way
slow
into it.
down. I have to slowly build up. I
Yeah.
can't start out fast.
I don't know. I feel like it's because people are judging me. Everybody's like, hey, that guy's running too slow. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not
Aren't you in
running
your
slow.
garage?
No, I'm saying when I run outdoors. When I'm on the treadmill, you control I set the number. I'm right there. I'm right in my sweet spot. I'm easing into it. But when I'm outdoors, I feel like people are looking at me, laughing at me for running too slow. So then I run faster. And then I'm like 1.2 miles in, and I'm like, and then that's it. That's all I got.
Anytime I see a runner, I'm just like, I'm proud of you. I can't do that. So no, run however slow or fast you want to.
That would be
bro.
my fear of doing the hood to coast is that first leg. I'd be all jacked up. There's all these other people if I'm like the one that's starting out of the gate, and I would be tired like 2 minutes into it because I'd be sprinting.
We have a spreadsheet that King Sella gave us to try to track so we can like update and meet each other because phone service will end up sucking eventually. And we inputted. I got all my runners in my van. I said, hey, guys, what do you think your pace is? I'm trying to input it. They all sandbag. They all say 14, 14, 13. I put this in, and the spreadsheet calculation says we're not getting to the beach till 9:45 p.m., which is not true at all. And I'm just like...
That would be a bit of a disaster, right?
It'd be a cluster F.
They would like pack
Literally,
everything
there's
up and
nothing
leave.
there. Yeah, there'd be nothing there.
Because it's supposed to be like early afternoon when everybody arrives, give or
usually
take.
teams will start rolling it. It depends on your start time, but like I'd say... Usual time for us has been in the 3 to 5:30 sweet spot.
Yeah.
That's usually what we're projected at.
Okay, late afternoon, early evening.
Yeah.
9:30. Let's not have that happen.
Well, but it goes to your original point. You start doing it, you run a little faster than you think you will.
You got adrenaline going,
You
man.
do. You get a lot of adrenaline.
You're going to run a lot faster, I think, than you normally would on your just training laps. You gotta control your pace, though. Control your pace.
Final question. Do you have like a slip and slide
We're back to this.
with jelly
A lot
that
of
you
oils
use at
in
your
your
house?
house?
Yeah.
None of
You guys
that. We
into
don't have a
oils?
backyard, so none of that.
Oh.
No opportunities for anything like that.
No
Outdoors.
backyard activities for the Schultz clan, huh?
No, but we were talking about an inflatable hot tub, so like I've talked about that with you guys on the show. So.
Telling you, he's a quagmire.
It definitely
There
is.
are buttons somewhere.
There absolutely are. There's a room that only unlocks with Schultz's key when you go over to visit his house. That's just a closet, guys. No, it's not.
Yeah, nobody look here.
No, it's not.
I needed a good pounding today.
I feel like he has memorized what did the police say when they arrest somebody? Like, that whole spiel that
You have a
Jonah-
right to remain silent.
Yeah.
Anything you say can be used against you in court of law.
Yeah, I feel like he has memorized that.
I don't know. We haven't really
Handcuffs, definitely.
Oh,
We
definitely.
haven't gotten into the role
Furry
play thing
handcuffs,
yet,
too.
Oh, yeah.
Handcuffs exist. Yes. That would probably be in the drawer. Yeah. I think those are there.
You want to gag me?
No.
I feel like you got
Oh,
ties.
right out on the gags.
No, I think you're all in. You're a quagmire, dude. You're in. You are in.
I just love learning more about Schultz
Me
day
too.
by day by day by day.
There's some darkness, but there's like happy darkness, you know?
Especially like a night you get swept by the Dodgers and the season is officially over. There's a little punishment going on last night.
Call
I
me a
think.
Rosarena.
Yeah, there's
I'm not worthy.
There's a paddle that's coming out or something.
Tell me
I've been a
worse.
naughty boy.
Service me again.
Tell me I'm a worse hitter
Come
than
on,
Justin Turner,
Scott.
baby.
Well, all right. Happy Thursday.
Hey, it's good to be here.
It is. It's nice to be here.
It's your Friday, man.
Swag will be back tomorrow, by the way.
Swag will be here tomorrow.
So no more
Yeah.
sex dungeon stories.
You know something I don't
Well,
like?
you never
is-
know. We're gonna get stories from his Hawaii trip. So
That's
there was
true.
evidently something bad happened on their Hawaii trip. It could have been a sex story. I don't know.
Something you say that I completely disagree with. You say often when you're about to go on vacation, well, it's my Friday. You ever just have a Friday and you're already checked out? And I'm just like, what a great tee up for a radio show.
Right. I'm already out, man. I don't care about today.
I'm all in. Today's show is going to be very fun, I think.
Well, I feel like there's a difference between a hood to coast and like a Hawaiian vacation.
Well, no.
There's a massive difference of like, I'm off tomorrow to go to Hawaii as I'm off tomorrow to go run 17 miles.
I think you would underestimate how much I love doing team things.
Oh, okay.
Not that like it's the same as Hawaii, but it's still something I'm just as
You're very excited.
I'm pretty jacked for it.
Yeah, it's a big weekend.
But even if you told me tomorrow's Hawaii, today's a big show.
It is a big show.
And I don't know if the phones work. My God, please let the phones work.
I hope they work.
Having Pate State and Ken Barkley for the final time, massive.
Big show. It'll be a big half hour straight.
It's a big program.
7:45 to 8:15 is going to be big.
Let's start with this. Is there enough hate? Do we have enough hate? That's next. Dirt and Sprague, happy Thursday on The Fan. I teased, is there enough hate? I'll tell you why in a second. I saw a blurb. Did you see Nebraska is going to do cashless food and drink stuff this year?
Like only cashless? You don't take any cash?
It's card.
Oh.
It's all digital.
I mean, to be fair, that's how I buy 99. Like, when was the last time you bought something with cash?
But if they eliminated cash, would there be outrage at in Eugene or at Corvallis?
I don't think so.
No, I'm assuming going along with that, there's going to be machines where you can convert cash to like a card, like a prepaid card on site, which is what T-Mobile Park does. You only can pay with cards.
Oh, T-Mobile Park does this?
Yeah, I think they
didn't know
did it
that
2 years ago, but they do include a way. So if I've got a $100 bill, I can go get a prepaid card like at a little machine, like I'm at a casino. Then I will be able to go get concessions or a T-shirt.
I went to an Ohtani pitching game against the Mariners a couple years ago. I'm so removed from cash that I wasn't even aware that I was at a cashless place.
Yeah, but if you told me Oregon did this and I went to an Oregon game, I would not even notice.
No,
I don't
not
buy
at all.
anything. I always have a little bit of cash on me just in case of an emergency, but I
Right.
don't ever buy anything with cash.
Well, I don't ever carry an amount that if I got robbed, I would ever mentally care about. If I had to give it to somebody, no, I gotta take it, dude. Whatever.
It's like $32. Congratulations.
Well, what's funny is I always do have $30 or $40 of cash.
You got a couple of 20s, maybe a 20 and a 10, a couple of ones.
I never use it.
No, it just sits there.
It just sits there.
Just sits there.
And I just, I end up racking my miles on my credit card, but I'm just like, why don't I ever use this?
Every once in a blue moon, I'm like, you know what? Give me $10 on the Powerball. When you're in a convenience store or something.
I still don't use it then.
That's the only time I ever use cash. Let's see if we can swing one big here for the fences.
I've been listening to a lot of things. It's football season, and Mina Kimes did an interview with Cam Jordan of the Saints, who he's going to definitely have a media career. He's a character. He's hilarious. He talks about and gives takes on everything. They made him rank 10 quarterbacks based on who got photo generated, not his top 10, just Daniel Jones pops up.
Right.
And so you had to rank whoever stopped.
The first 10 that showed up. Yeah.
Right. And Jones was at the very back end, and all he had was 3, 2, and 1. And he just refused. He's like, no, he's 11. He is 11.
He's not a top 10 quarterback.
And they made him put him at 3, and he was all pissed off. It was really funny. He jokingly did a bit, but I think he meant some truth in it, where he was asked, is there enough hate in the NFL anymore? Is it too friendly? The NBA gets this, and they've had this for a while because a banana boat picture surfaced.
Yes.
And, God forbid those guys be friends.
Everybody's buddies. They want to team up and play against each other. Our generation would never do that.
Barkley and Jordan didn't golf together during the finals.
Nope, never did.
Oh, wait. That's right. It wasn't
Danny
on
Ainge
Twitter.
didn't either. Larry Bird didn't. Larry Bird and Magic weren't friends as their careers went on.
Oh, Thomas and Magic didn't kiss at center court. How dare you?
I don't know if you remember all this, a decade ago, Joe Torre, when he became assistant to the commissioner or whatever, he made a big push for MLB players. Once fans got into the stadium, hey, don't talk to each other, don't fraternize. It's a bad look if you guys are friendly. And it's
Does that matter to you?
No. In fact, I would love to see more of that. I think it's cool when they're talking to each other. You get to hear what they're talking about. I want to be a fly on the wall for those combos.
The only ones that ever bother me are when, and this is kind of a stupid fandom thing, but this happened yesterday. I turned the Giants game on. They lost to the White Sox, so that was awesome.
Oh, your season's cooked.
I mean,
buddy.
they're done. And in the ninth inning, they were down 6-2. 2 outs, and they had a runner on third, and the guy on third was joking with the third baseman.
I see that a lot in
and I'm just
baseball,
like, dude,
that's
Does
I
that
know,
bother you?
That one gets me.
What if they're best friends or they've known each other
After
for
the game.
15 years?
After the game, you could do it in batting practice. You can do it. You're losing to the White Sox. The White Sox are 50 games, 60 games below 500.
Yeah.
You need they won the first 2. You needed a sweep just to have any semblance of hope of keeping your season alive. You couldn't do it. It's an embarrassing loss. You're at home. The stands are a quarter full because everybody's left or they weren't there in the first place, and you're yakking it up on third base. Though when it's my team and my fandom, it bothers me. The general friendships in leagues, I couldn't care less.
The thing that bothers me is in football when a team's getting absolutely bludgeoned and they score and they celebrate. That's when I'm like, we're still doing the gritty, huh? We're down 18 now, and we're doing the gritty.
It was 28-0. Now it's 28-7. Congratulations on your sweet dance. Nice touchdown.
Derek Anderson, former Beavers quarterback, shouting at the media when he got caught during a loss with the Cardinals, talking and laughing with one of his players.
Oh, yeah.
And he
That was a
lays
big
into
deal.
the guy about how much work he puts into it. It's like, no, but you didn't really answer the question of the look of you joking with another player during a game. He basically just said, oh, I'm not joking with him. You're laughing, but okay, crazy.
Well, do you guys think that the hate? I I liked his answer. It was basically like some divisions teams hate each other more than others, and I
There
think
are built-in rivalries for sure.
Right. Like he cited the AFC North. He said it's a weird division. They hate each other, but they all play for each other. A Brown becomes a Steeler, and then a Steeler becomes a Raven, and then a Raven becomes a Bengal. And like I thought he made a really good point, but also I think he's wrong. I think there are a lot of friendships, but I watch a lot of football, and when they're playing, man, there's a lot of S-talking just going on. I just don't.
There is.
I don't think there's any less hate in the NFL.
I think what I would take it to another level of. By the way, this shows you how little that I pay attention and did not notice. Autzen is cashless as well. People are texting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
you for the text, police.
That shows how I had no clue because
I don't know if research
buy anything in cash. I had no clue. I just here's my card.
I bought stuff at the UW Oregon State game, and I just guess what used my card. There was actually a cashless. Like a line you grab and you just go pay,
which is so much easier.
They have this at the Moda Center now too. It's hey, grab your stuff and you'll just end up crossing a threshold like that Amazon grocery store. They just know how to charge you.
It's like an auto bill thing.
Yeah,
which is
you don't
pretty
even
cool.
have to scan anything on the way out.
No,
I got 2 hot dogs, a bottle of water, and a bag of chips.
That's
there
exactly
you go.
what it was.
It'll be $79.97.
Wow.
I think what I would say, the friendship stuff to me, I'm fine with. And guys, you're in a fraternity, you're playing in a league. Like, there's a support of contracts. You're in a union. There's I understand all of those things. These guys have grown up. They played with each other, against each other. They've known each other for years. What I would say, though, is that I do feel like, and maybe this is just in the moment, not thinking of one, and you guys are going to call me an idiot. I do feel like we're lacking great rivalries. Like in my
you
head,
think we're lacking it in sports or like the NFL?
I'm just thinking about the NFL right now. Maybe other sports.
What's
as
the
well.
best rivalry right now in the NFL? Because to me, this is going to sound dumb to you. I'm almost like you can give me games that mean a lot to your fandom, right?
Of course.
Like when my Niners play the Packers or the Cowboys, I'm always like, childhood me, here we go. We're plugged in. I hate these teams right now. But if you asked non-fan Sprague, right, take the hat off, I'm almost like, is the best rivalry Patrick Mahomes versus the NFL?
Versus everybody else.
You know, because they're dominating right now. We're all going to think they're going to win the Super Bowl. What is the best rivalry right now in the NFL? You watch it and you feel, even if you're not a fan of the team, especially if you're not a fan, you can feel it through your TV.
I mean, I feel like the only ones that even stand out to me are, and probably always will, Ravens and Steelers every time they play, even though it's always like a 10-9 game. And then like Cowboys and Eagles. Like Dallas in Philly, I like you can feel the hatred on television when you watch it. But I don't necessarily feel it as much on the field. Like I think back to, it's probably 10 years ago now, but when you had like Legion of Boom Seattle against San Francisco, those cities hating each other, those teams hating each other, Harbaugh and Carroll, the history, they played each other twice every year. They met in the playoffs quite often. Like that was
iconic games.
That was great. And that you could feel it when you watched it. And
Pittsburgh, Baltimore had some of that too.
That's the only one that like every year, doesn't really matter how good or bad the teams are, that you just kind of know that is built in. And I think Dallas is this way with everybody in the NFC East because everybody hates Dallas. And so there's a little bit of that.
Yeah, but like does New York hate Washington?
I mean, I think they do, but not to the level that they hate Dallas.
Dallas is the different one in that
Cowboys.
division.
Everybody hates Cowboys versus everybody's a bit of a rivalry.
Ravens Steelers to me will mean nothing, even if it will end up being close because of rivalry. I don't feel it with the Steelers right now.
No, it's not a it's not a title contending team.
That team is not good.
No.
If they make the playoff, it'll be by like the thinnest of margin, and they'll get blown out in their playoff game. Like not even the diehest of diehard Steeler fan is going and going, "Yep, we're contending this year." Yeah. You know your team kind of sucks. So it's not even if they beat Baltimore one of the two times, I'm not juiced for that game the way I have been.
I feel like some of these two are just naturally created by matchups in the playoffs and tough losses or tough wins. Like, I think there's a bit of this if he can stay healthy this year and they can get back. Like, you kind of had this brewing with Kansas City and Cincinnati, where Cincinnati beat them in the AFC title game, went to the Super Bowl. The next year, they met again in the AFC title game.
Chase refuses to say Mahomes' name.
There's a little bit like, all right.
There's a little bit to that. I'll give you that.
We thought maybe Buffalo, Kansas City was going to be that, and last year they did play a great playoff game, but it feels like Buffalo is maybe a step below a little bit right now, and I hope I'm wrong on that because I'd love to see the Bills win this year. But they had that kind of trending, and you had the 13-second game. The AFC title game was the year before, and then Buffalo kind of fell off a little bit, and Kansas City surged. So So some of that stuff's just naturally created that when you play so often in the playoffs, you start to hate somebody,
You do.
hate a team, hate a coach, and I don't feel like you have that right now.
And I think the part of the problem with that matchup, Buffalo and Kansas City, because I agree with the Cincinnati one and Kansas City. They beat them in the playoffs. Burrow gets hurt. Jamar Chase refuses to say Mahomes' name to give him any credit. The Buffalo Kansas City one lacks for me in the regard of we talk about it a lot because it's Allen Mahomes.
Yeah, quarterback versus quarterback.
They don't, outside of like a regular season game, last year or the year before, they don't beat them.
No.
When it matters the most,
They don't beat them in the playoffs.
So far,
They're 0-3.
Buffalo doesn't beat them.
You got to win one.
And it's a little bit of big brother, little brother going on where little brother, I think, has gotten them once or twice in a regular season game. But when they meet in the playoffs, whether that's home or road, Kansas City always edges them.
And that's why I think Cincinnati had it, because they beat him in an AFC title game down by, 20 points in the first half or whatever it was in Kansas City. You won it, and then you went back the next year, and you were this close to winning it again. And so there was that give and take of, ooh, this is going to be a memorable matchup. And
right.
Maybe Burrow gets back and he's healthy this year and we have it again. But to me, it's the friendly stuff doesn't matter. I do think we need more rivalries.
More juice.
And some of those just have to be you can't manufacture. It's like a nickname. You can't just give yourself a nickname. It's got to be got to be created organically, and rivalries hopefully will continue to grow.
We brought up a name there that I want to carry over to the other side and talk about, and I'll tell you who that is and what they said yesterday. So we'll get to that coming up next on The Fan.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, another bad night for the Seattle Mariners. They get swept by the Los Angeles Dodgers with an 8-4 loss. Starter Logan Gilbert giving up all 8 runs, at least on the box score. Relievers coming in, Trent Thornton giving up a couple of those technically, but Gilbert chased in just 4 2/3. The loss marks a 1-8 road trip for the Mariners, moves them to 500 at 64-64. They have an off day before hosting the Giants for a 3-game set starting tomorrow. Elsewhere, the Red Sox beat the Houston Astros 4-1, keeping the M's within 5 games of first in the AL West, but they're now just 34 games left in the regular season. In college football, Iowa head coach and known scoring hater Kirk Ferentz has been suspended for 1 game for a violation related to the recruitment of transfer quarterback Cade McNamara. Assistant John Budmeyer also suspended for a game. Ferentz, the longest tenured coach in FBS after taking over for the Hawkeyes program in 1999. And in the NFL, the final week of the preseason kicking off tonight with the Bengals hosting the Colts at 5 p.m. on Amazon Prime. Then you got the Bears taking on the Chiefs in Kansas City. That's a 5:20 p.m. kick on NFL Network. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Tired of getting dinged by
Is the NFL lacking rivalries with hate? Yes or no? Very, very early on in this voting process, like way too early to even say the answer. I'll give you the answer.
I was one of those votes. How many do we got? I already clicked it. I already voted.
It's 83.3% yes.
Yeah, that's what I voted. I think we're lacking it, man. I think we're lacking a little bit.
I think that just, certain teams have to be good.
Yeah, I think
at
Burrow,
the same time that other certain teams have to be good.
Without a doubt, man.
When you're uneven, like, no offense, Giants Cowboys not interesting at like any percentage.
No, not at all.
At all this year.
No, and they'll throw it on Sunday Night Football anyways. And you're
Sure.
like, why is this game on Sunday?
And
Why
we'll
do I-
watch it, but
why am I watching Daniel Jones? I don't want to watch Daniel Jones.
Now Eli going into Texas Stadium and winning every single time, hilarious. I'll always watch those games.
I mean, I think you had this. You mentioned Niners and Cowboys from your childhood. That was an incredible rivalry, and it was for decades because they played every year in the playoffs. I know not every year, but you get I think it was like 4 straight NFC Championship games, and the Cowboys would win, and the Niners would break through. The Niners with the catch in the 80s. Like
the 80s, the Niners got past them. The 90s, the Cowboys dominated
right.
it.
And then the Niners got back in 94, and then the Cowboys won another one. They played same with the Packers and the Niners. Like you had a lot of those where it felt like they played every year. And I think what would help this tremendously is Buffalo like Bills fans can chime in and say, well, they've beaten them the last couple of times in the regular season. That's fine. It doesn't matter.
I'm talking about the games that
matter. If you
season.
beat Kansas City in the playoffs, then I think that adds a little more juice to it.
Yeah.
Same with Lamar Jackson if he can get over the hump and beat them. And the same with Burrow if he's back healthy, and that's potentially an AFC title game again for the third time in 4 years. I think then you start trending on that territory.
The funny thing is the Chargers are in the same division as Mahomes, and I think you would say if Harbaugh can beat Mahomes.
Yeah.
Because Herbert's come into his own as a person and a personality, but I think people look at the Chargers and say Harbaugh.
He's a massive name, man.
Before they say Herbert. Herbert's regarded as one of the best.
Yeah, he's back. The Angels are singing.
The other thing, too, is like when my team is, I like the Niners, so they play the Cowboys, the Packers. Like, fortunately for me, those teams scared the living hell out of childhood me. We've kind of owned them in the playoffs.
Packers, especially. Well,
we're on a long run against Green Bay, and we
Yeah.
have a nice little consecutive streak going against Dallas here. So
that's mainly just a nostalgia play too. Like when you see that, it just reminds you of your childhood, and it's the star, and it's the colors, and everything looks right. Everything's right with the world.
Also, the Broncos, Raiders. Right after John Elway won the 2 Super Bowls with the Broncos, and then Rich Gannon, quarterback of the Raiders. I feel like those two teams meeting for about the next half a decade to a decade. Division rivals was always like must.
Those games gave you juice because I don't know why, but those always lacked a little juice for me.
I mean, seeing Jerry Rice still in uniform, like he was in some of those games. I'm not trying to say that it was amazing, but you're asking, you're asking me where's the juice. They were on Monday Night Football several times because they had a lot of big names on both teams.
I mean, I'm with you on
Raiders
that.
Were decent.
The Raiders had a lot of scum, like they had like a Romanowski era too. He's like spitting on people. Like there was that part of it.
Tim Brown.
He spit on a Niner. He spit on J.J. Stokes.
I know, I'm just saying everybody hated Bill Romanowski, so that led to the hate. So you kind of hated the Raiders to begin with.
Alco Bill.
Yeah. Yeah, I think every fan base and local area pocket has their everybody has their teams that they hate and has their rivalries. Like if you ask a Bronco fan, do you have rivals right now? They'd say, yeah, of course we hate the Raiders. We hate we hate the Chiefs.
I think the Raiders have won like 8 straight against the Broncos.
Against the Broncos, really?
It's a crazy streak. I heard
Raiders
this
have been
yesterday.
terrible. How is that possible?
I mean
the Broncos have been terrible too. But man, I didn't
their
get
Super
at least
Bowl.
one.
It's like, hey, we're gonna beat these guys,
dude.
Yeah, but this is about rivalries, though. I think getting outside of the local bubble, and it's you can hate the team in your division, you can hate that like matchup, but it like Seahawk fans and Niner fans, I'm sure still don't like each other, but it doesn't have national relevancy the way that it did 10 years ago.
Well, I think because of DK, Seahawks Rams feels like a little more juice.
Seahawks Rams is solid,
at least right now. Now maybe the tide will change. I looked it up randomly. The Super Bowl blowout with the Bucs against the Raiders. Jerry Rice, at his age.
Was he 42 when that game happened?
Yeah, right.
I think he was 40. 5 catches, 77 yards, and a tud. He had a 15.4 average.
What were you saying? Raiders legend.
Raiders
Jerry
legend.
Rice.
Jerry,
I was being
Seahawks
serious.
legend. Jerry Rice.
Well, okay, now you're ridiculous.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll. We talk about rivalries. Pete Carroll has been involved in some rivalries in his day.
Yeah, him and Jim Harbaugh is a classic, man.
Both in college and the pros.
Yes.
Stanford, USC, Niners, Hawks. He was on with Softy on KGR. Softy getting this interview.
Big get for Softy.
Great get because this audio got circulated nationwide, sometimes not being credited for the audio, and sometimes he was. Pete Carroll was asked by Doug Baldwin, who was co-hosting with Softy, if he was interested in coaching, and this was Pete Carroll's answer.
I could coach tomorrow. I mean, I'm physically in the best shape I've been in a long time. I'm ready to do all the activities that I'm doing and feeling really good about it. I could. I don't. But I don't really. I'm not desiring it. At this point, and this isn't the coaching season. We'll see what happens. And I'm not really. I'm not waiting on it at all. I'm going ahead. I got other things that I want to do that I'm excited about, and I'm going to see how all that goes. I'm not thinking that it's that I'm holding my breath and that kind of thing.
Are we never going to see Belichick and Carroll on the sidelines for teams? I mean, I know they're both in their 70s. Is that it for them?
Yeah, Pete Carroll is 72.
And Belichick's 72 or 71. They're like the same age.
72. They're both 72 years old. Man, that's a good question.
And do you think they realized that?
When at the time? No, I don't think at the time. I don't think they realized it.
Because Carroll kind of sounds like he's putting that in his own head of like that. I might be cooked. He's going to teach class at USC.
He is. And Belichick's doing the media stuff this year. He's on McAfee all the time. He's going to be all over your TV. Man.
Because another year goes by, they're 73. And it's like, you're really going to hire a 73-year-old coach?
I think I would vote. I think I would vote yes on that. I do.
Really?
More so for Pete than I would Bill. I think if one's more likely to return, I could see Pete having more hobbies and finding more joy in life without coaching football than I could Bill Belichick. But Belichick seems he's dating like a 23-year-old. He's doing the media stuff now. Like, I think these guys, when you can find a way to stay involved with the game of football but not have to deal with the day in and day out grind.
He's advising teams, Carroll said. He said he's talking to teams. He's at USC, so I'm sure Lincoln will pick his brain.
Bill's been all over Seattle helping out his kid and walking around for Jed Fish. Like, so you're in it, you're coaching a little bit, you get to be involved in the sport, but you don't have the day in and day out grind. I think right now, and maybe 4 months ago, I don't know if I would have answered this, especially with Bill, but I think right now I would say yes.
I'm going to throw something at you quickly.
What do you got?
I think if we see Carroll again, it's in college.
Are his penalties up? Can he coach in
I don't
college?
know. I actually say that without knowing
I mean, imagine that they are now
stuff.
at this point, yeah.
But let me throw an idea at you real quick because we're already against it.
Lincoln Riley goes 3-9 and they hire him back.
One, I think everybody at USC would actually be in on that.
They absolutely would.
But no, Jed Fish does take Florida.
He goes up to Seattle.
I mean, he's advising them. He's rooting for him. He's pretty familiar with the program.
Co-head coaches, Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll, the Washington Huskies. Is that what you're telling me?
Double team in the Big Ten.
Yeah, because he's a Belichick's kid now on the
He's the D coordinator.
Yeah, exactly.
He's their D coordinator.
No, but I wouldn't be shocked if he came back, but I think it'd be more in the college ranks. Like, if you told me Pete Carroll coached San Jose State for 3 years, wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You don't think he'd take that job?
I think Pete Carroll genuinely loves the nature of coaching. Like, when I think of Pete Carroll, what do you think of? You think of happy 70-year-old guy wearing receiver's gloves, rolling out to throw passes to DK in the corner.
And pants in it, in his Air Monarchs.
That guy,
the field.
we saw it firsthand. We did shows up there. That guy generally comes out with a fire and passion.
Yeah.
And look, he's made a lot of money, sure, but I think he is a guy that isn't driven by the money of it. I do think he loves the aspect of leading and coaching. And if you told me he coached a San Jose State, I wouldn't get on the radio and be like, I can't believe it. I'd be like, yeah, that dude, it tracks. I think he just genuinely loves the sport.
There's a bit of Mac Brown in that. And Mac Brown was out of coaching for how long after stepping away from Texas and then, did the media thing for a long time.
Came back to UNC.
And he's like, you know what? I still got the itch. I'd love to get back involved with the game and I'd love to coach. Mac Brown is the same age. He's 72 years old.
Yeah.
So right now. So he's a little bit younger when he first stepped out and then came back. And what has he been in North Carolina for 3 years now?
Not that the Huskies would hire Pete Carroll. I'm just saying, like, if you told me he came back, I think it'd be more in the coaching realm of college.
I wouldn't be necessarily surprised if either one did. I think they both still have the itch. And Bill is so close to breaking the all-time record for wins that has to notch you a little bit. Like, just the human nature of it. Like, I'm 3 years away from being the all-time winningest coach in the NFL, depending on what job I get. Like, that's got to eat at your brain every night. But I do think there's something to being able to make a lot of money in media And at least Bill's doing that. Pete's not right now, but maybe he will. Like, that's a good gig, man. That dude's going to make bank this year. He doesn't have to game plan every day. You're just going to get a little bit of your freedom back, enjoy things you haven't been able to enjoy in a long time.
Yeah, but Bill Cowher learned it. Other coaches don't.
Yeah, not everybody has. Some guys will go back to it, but Bill Cowher walked away and was like, you're going to pay me how much to sit up here and talk about football? And I'm not going to get fired if I lose 3 games in a row? Sign me up. That sounds like a good gig.
There's no defending the doofus. Next on The Fan.
The Ducks are on a roll.
They have hammer recruiting.
A lot to get to in the second hour of the program. Breaking news, starting quarterback news yesterday. don't know how off guard you were.
I was
caught
shocked
by that.
I was shocked.
I couldn't believe it.
I, for one, was shocked. I never saw it coming.
Give us our own national podcast. We broke that news weeks ago.
We did. I could have broke that news the night of the. What night was the NFL draft?
Exactly.
April 25th or whatever day that was. Could have broke it that night.
We had to listen to people talk about loving Jared Stidham for 2 months.
Could have hit you with one of these the day after the draft. Hey, guess what? I think I know who their starting quarterback's going to be.
A little nostalgia hitting us this morning. I'll get to that coming up. Bigger doofus.
Who's the doofus?
Well, that's what you need to answer.
Okay.
It's a little zigger-zag type of deal here. Bigger doofus. Ben Affleck divorcing Jennifer Lopez.
Well, she's the one that filed, but okay.
Well, they're getting divorced.
It's bad. It's hilarious.
After he gave her an engagement ring that had engraved "not going anywhere."
Uh-huh. That didn't last long.
Shocking.
Or
Huh.
Daryl Doucette saying he's better at football than Patrick Mahomes.
Bigger doofus. I'm gonna go Daryl Doucette. Bigger doofus.
Really?
Here. Ben Affleck. Look, Jennifer Lopez sounds like a bit of a handful in more ways than one.
So does he, for that matter.
So does he. I mean, they both are handfuls. Like this, like once the video went viral of him closing the door as she got into the car. Remember that video?
Yep.
Where she walks in, he opens the door, he closes it, and you could just see him like sighing as he walks around the car.
That
When
confirms
does
with
he
the
smile?
paparazzi.
He
When
never
he's on-
smiles.
Never smiles.
Unless he's at like a Red Sox game or eating a Dunkin' Donut. Like that's the only time I think Ben Affleck ever smiles.
When he's getting paid.
But Ben Affleck's gonna be like what's next for him? The
Probably
next
this again.
hot piece of ass that he's gonna divorce into. Like he's gonna be. This is his life. This is what he does. This is
Just be miserable
he's
with
just
hot people.
Miserable with a new hot person
That's
every 18 months. Right? Sounds like a terrible way to live. Saying that you're a better quarterback than the best quarterback on the planet is king. Like that's king. Crown this guy.
Really?
There's no bigger doofus on the planet.
Well, here is Daryl Doucette. I tried to defend you, Daryl, to say like maybe there is a flag football difference. You 5'7" king. He went from saying like these NFL guys are taking our flag football jobs for the Olympics. He took it even further in saying this about him versus Patrick Mahomes.
At the end of the day, I feel like I'm better than Patrick Mahomes because of my IQ of the game. I know he's right now the best in the league. I know he's more accurate. I know he has all these intangibles. But when it comes to flag football, I feel like I know more than him.
Okay, so you could have just said that part instead of starting with why you think you're better than the best quarterback in the world.
Yeah.
He knows quite literally way more about that sport and the nuance of defense and going against it than you ever will.
How different is the game plan in flag football to real football? Like, what are we?
Aren't there less people on their team?
I mean, I'm assuming
flag?
Does flag football? I'm assuming they play with linemen. It's not like
Why would
7
you
on
play with
7.
No,
linemen?
it's like a 1 or 2.
1,000,
You hike,
1,000.
and then you run.
And that's
it's
so
like
it's
a
just literally
skelly kind of
passing
7
league?
on 7. Yeah.
7 on 7.
So it's just reacting.
If that's the case, then there is no world that this guy's in. Like, there's no argument to be made.
You've had an argument like this
Well-
that I think is almost on the same level, even though you don't agree with it.
What argument is that?
You and photography.
Easy job. Easy job.
See what I'm saying?
Easy job.
We
I
all have
disagree.
takes like this, just in different realms.
I want to look at like
You're the Daryl Doucette of photography. You're like, oh, I think I'm just as good as fill in the blank photographer.
Yeah.
I could do that. You just gotta hike to a remote spot. That's all you got to do.
I'd love to see Dirt handle a wedding. Try to photograph a wedding.
No, dude. My sister-in-law has done a wedding.
Click, 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 click,
No,
click, click,
that's-
click,
No.
click,
Yeah.
click, click, click.
They
I
would be
actually-
so
There you
mad
go. I
at
got
you.
30,000 photos. You pick through the best 120 you
I
want.
want to
Go
find
ahead.
somebody who doesn't value or care about their wedding that
Oh,
much.
Dude, I would take
and
such
then
good
pick
pictures.
Dirt as the photographer, and I bet you those photos are absolute dog-s.
I would take such great photos at a wedding.
Come on.
Such great
Louise.
photos at a wedding.
Any
Dude.
P1s that want to get married and
Easy-
entrust
easy
Dirt
gig.
with that
Dude,
gig.
easy
Schultze,
gig,
you
man.
have this with porn stars. The amount of kinky Quagmire stuff you've got going on, you probably think you could be in a movie.
No. What?
Okay, all right.
So I don't know if this is like youth flag football or Olympic flag football. This basically says there are 5 players on the field in
Yeah.
NFL flag football.
Yeah.
So you have what a quarterback.
Do they do one Mississippi? Like, is it like when we used to play?
Yeah. What's
like,
the count in order to?
3-second Mississippi?
He left too early.
All right.
He left too early.
And then it was 1,001, 1,000, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3. Oh, blitz.
I remember one of my early in high school. It was 7-on-7 flag football, or just 7-on-7 football was always fun to do in the summer. You get these little passing leagues that you go do. And I remember there was a quarterback that was younger on our team, and I was able to convince him that in 7-on-7 football as a quarterback you can run, which you cannot run. It's not a thing. There's no pass rush. There's just a clock, and once it goes off, if you haven't released the ball, it's a sack, and then you go to the next down. And I remember telling him, like, nah, dude, if there's nobody open, just take off and run. And the first time he got into the game, he took a snap, looked around, he kind of freaked out. There was nobody open. He just took off and run, and everybody on the field started to yell, "What are you doing?
Why did you do that to him?
I just wanted to have fun with him.
You sabotaged him.
7-on-7 football. He's a young kid. You got to bring him up the right way. There is no world that this guy's better than Patrick Mahomes. Like, I'm not arguing that I'm better.
Well, we all know it's a ridiculous thing to say.
I'm not arguing I'm better than the best photographer in the world. I'm just saying, easy job. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm better than the GOAT. Who's the GOAT of photographers?
I don't know who the GOAT of
whoever the
what
GOAT
kind of photography? Nature?
That's true.
Wedding?
There are different kinds of GOATs. Whoever the GOAT is, I'm not better than that GOAT. Could I do the job? I could do the job.
Now, like, we had a gal that did our team photos for basketball season, and she got in with the league, and she took all the team photos. I think you could do that just as well as her.
Just click.
And she had the old school, like, elementary school setup, was like the big light.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are always kind of fun to see.
You know, like fades out with that noise.
And you're blind for 15 seconds if you look directly into it. You're like, wow, I can't. I'm going to blink.
Like, I think
see that the rest
you
of the day.
could do those photos just as well,
I
based
think I
on
could,
my experience with her.
Nature photos, it's just the hard part about getting there. And once
can't
you get
do the
there,
nature. Stop it.
Click. All right, there you go. Click.
I would argue the nature photos are the hardest photos. The
Yeah.
wedding ones certainly should not be undervalued here because of the importance of them, but
Yeah.
nature photos are the hardest. You
I
stop.
mean, you just got to catch the motion. That's all. People dancing. Look at that. Hey, there's the bride and groom. Click, 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 click.
You are ridiculous.
Here's the wedding party. Okay, you guys line up here. Oh, look at that. There's some shrubbery behind you. Look at this beautiful. Click, 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 click. There you go.
All right, you can hire Dirt for 10% of the going rate, apparently, because it's that easy to be a wedding photographer. Good God.
Where's our photographer? I don't know. He's taking pictures of the meat spread.
Yeah, dude, you see these ribeyes back here? These are great, man.
Hey,
you want to document that? It's a good spread.
Shots of the Traeger? Yeah.
Where's the photographer? I don't know. He passed out at the open bar. There's going to be a lot of photos of the camera falling to the ground and then just ground photos. Real time.
What happened here, man? What happened?
A lot to get to in the second hour. Bo Nix is starting quarterback. A little bit of nostalgia for you. We got a loaded second hour. Breakfast menu, hour 2. Dirt and Sprague on the Fan.
It's
to catch a glimpse of these warlocks. Let's make a move.
She's going around the corner.
Come on.
It's time for Dirt and Sprague.
True love is hard to find. Sometimes you think you have true love, and then you catch the early flight home from San Diego, and a couple of nude people jump out of your bathroom blindfolded.
With Andy Dirt Johnson and Brendan Sprague.
We should date. What? Date. I said we should date sometime. You know, socially. Go ahead, kick it.
Dirt and Sprague on 1080.
You're pretty sick, Chubbs.
The Fan.
All right, welcome back in. Our numero dos here on The Fan. We have a lot to get to.
People are speaking. Photography, easy job. Randy Johnson's a professional photographer. Another one.
Have you seen his photos?
I never have. I have no
What
clue.
if they're like, what if he is legitimately great?
He's 6'11". He can like get rid of shadows and get the best angle just from being himself.
You're saying he's cheating?
No, I'm saying that he's got an advantage.
So like when you see a great
So harder
sports-
job? Is
Hold
it
on.
harder to be a good photographer if you're shorter? Is that the argument now?
Well, everybody
And I would
looks-
have a harder time doing this because I'm 5'7". Is that what
Everybody
you're
looks
telling me?
better from an angle above their foreheads, and I'm just
That
thinking
is true.
Randy with his height has an advantage.
Well, so when you see a great sports photo, do you think it's skill or luck?
Combination of both.
Really?
Combination of both. Because how many pictures are you taking in that stretch? Like if there's a big dunk,
Yeah.
right? You're taking a sequence of like 80, like it's
Probably.
you're like, I don't know if it's an auto thing or
Was
if
that the noise?
If you have to press it every time, I don't know how that works. I'd have to look into my camera technology. Somebody said, right? You get the right technology, you get the right camera, easy job. Look at that. People are speaking. I do want to look up Randy Johnson photography now.
I've
though.
never seen his photos. And I've
Griffey
always
does this
wondered
too.
this.
Griffey's a professional photographer
Yeah, but
as well.
Randy's legitimately credentialed and on the sports sidelines of multiple leagues.
He's got his own website.
Randy?
Randy Johnson Photography.
You know, if
I
you
mean, it's
reached
just-
out and you said Randy,
It's a picture of a band on a stage. It's a picture of an elephant, and it's a picture of somewhere in London of, the tip of a bridge.
you are so disrespectful to photographs.
Click.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah, he photographs a lot of live concerts too. That's what I've heard he does.
Band on the stage.
Yeah.
Look at that. They're playing the drum. Oh, look at that. There's the band. Click. The lights.
Okay.
Easy job.
Let's get the breakfast menu. I've not eaten today. I'm starving right now.
I'm hungry today, too.
Oh, it's awful. If you guys could have one thing, would you go heavy? Would you go light?
I'd go, give me a breakfast burrito today. Grab and go. Egg, sausage, maybe a little bit of ham in there, some potatoes. What am I missing?
I thought you guys
some
said
salsa.
no vegetables.
Breakfast burritos are different than omelets.
Oh.
Different. I got a tortilla there. It's a different texture. It's a different bite. The omelet, you just want eggs and you want meat. That's all I need. And cheese, obviously.
Okay.
And I think I have to make a little sauce, a little hot sauce on top. That's it. That's all I need. That's good.
I think I'm going lighter-ish. I'm going avocado toast with a nice yolky egg on top.
Ooh, a little yolky egg.
Yeah.
Look at
Well,
you.
you got to run, so you better keep it light.
Yeah, you
Well-
got 17 miles coming, bitch.
Yesterday I had a big omelet. You know?
There you go.
Any veggies in there?
You damn right. I told you I like veggies. You guys are weird. By the way, everybody was on my side on that. You guys
Yeah,
are
we did.
weirdos.
We lost that one. That's okay.
Yeah,
That's
the
all right.
fatties lost that one.
Yeah,
I'll stand off.
the fatties lost that one.
The big boys were on the losing side of that effort. That's okay, though.
It's fine.
Open the show menu today. We find out Josh Pate is hopefully going to be on this time.
7:45. Fingers crossed.
God, our fingers are crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Really want to talk to Pate State this week.
And the phones need to work at 8 o'clock because it's Ken Barkley's last hit.
Yeah, this is it. And maybe he would be willing if something were to technically happen, but like we don't know that for certain. So we really hope we can have our bon voyage to Ken Barkley.
I think we have some fun with him next year because remember, he has a ton of money riding on Oklahoma City winning the NBA championship.
I was going to bring this up with him. I've laid a futures on him, and I hate that team.
I do too.
I hate that team.
I'm following Ken's lead there.
too.
And if they get into the playoffs next year, that might be a fun check-in of like, how you doing, Ken? What's going on?
Well,
You know?
we'll see if he does interviews ever again.
Yes.
A little nostalgia to hit you with at 7:15, but let's get it going. Bo Nix announced as the starting quarterback
What?
of now
What?
former Charger and Tennessee Titan football fans, now currently Bronco fan, Duck fan.
Well, we're a little conflicted right now. Chargers and Broncos, same division, play each other twice a year. It's not going to be easy. It's not a simple switch over, you know?
Unless you're a Bronco fan, it's actually pretty simple. You're rooting for Herbie.
Yeah, you're definitely rooting for
A
Herbie.
4-year guy, the local in-state kid who didn't get looked at because he got injured at the wrong time.
Yeah.
This isn't a contest. Bo's a hired gun.
Had to deal with Mario. Didn't get to play in this new offense and this new system. system.
Yes.
He had to play 1984 offensive football.
Right.
They wouldn't run him, put the restrictor plates on.
No, they ran him. That was the only way they beat
until
Wisconsin.
Not until the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Could have used him in some of those losses in the regular season, against Auburn or Arizona State or some of the other games that they lost. I'm psyched for Bo. This is the right call. It's not a surprise at all. He was always going to be the starter. You don't take a guy in the top 10-ish unless you're weird and you're the Atlanta Falcons right now and not start them. These guys win starting jobs. Drake May will win the job in New England.
It's a redshirt year for Penix.
This is how it works. This is how it goes. And he's also on top of that. Yes, it's preseason. No, it doesn't mean anything, but what he's been able to do so far has looked really good. He's played really good for them through their first 2 preseason games. I don't have high expectations for them this year. It's a building year. You see what you got. They got to clear that Russell Wilson money off the books and then kind of go from there in the years to come. But it seems like a good fit, and I'm really excited to watch what he does. First game up in Seattle. It's a fun local game. It's going to be right here on the Fan.
Here was Bo Nix yesterday after practice, after being announced the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos.
To get that news, but obviously, as a room, we've been working hard, and putting a lot of good things on film, putting a lot of good things, on the practice field, and so to get that news is definitely a great thing, and so I'm super excited. And, ready to get back to work again and go back to it and start again.
Coach told us that he told you on the practice field right before. Can you just take us through that moment and what it was like hearing that?
Yeah, he walked up, said he was going to tell you guys this afternoon. Let's have a good practice.
Not always the most electric guy behind the microphone, but I think he's pretty excited. I mean, the journey of that guy's career is fascinating.
Imagine saying this 2 years ago. He's going to be a top, 12th overall
12th.
pick? 12th. He's going to be a top 12 pick and be the first Broncos rookie to start since John Elway. When he was booted basically out of the Auburn program.
So there's some stuff here. Like, everybody has heard this already. We're the morning show getting to react to yesterday afternoon's news. First rookie quarterback to start week 1 for Denver since John Elway. That's no surprise. Interesting read on The Athletic of it was 16 throws. 16 throws, and Sean Payton called their general manager, Patton, and said, he's it.
He's the guy.
They did an interview. So Payton went to his pro day, and then the next day he was going to do a private one-on-one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Payton gave him a ton of installation, formation, play stuffs, and basically had a tiny window to memorize as much as he could, and said he aced the next day he aced everything in memory recall. And then he said he saw Bo with a backpack, and he went, here we go. These NFL people are weird sickos. Like, would you ever date your mom? Like, they ask the weirdest things. They're always trying to find out dirty details of these guys, right? Sees a backpack from Bo Nix and goes, here we go. I'm going to catch him with a vice. Says he goes, open your backpack. What's in your backpack? And Bo pulls out 2 pairs of cleats, one for indoor, one for outdoor, and a lacrosse ball for his back so he can roll his back.
He can roll his back
for
as
his
he
back
gets warmed
pain.
up, yeah.
And he went, okay, well, I guess you're all about football then. He was looking for chewing tobacco, none of it.
He
didn't have
he's going
one
to show
little
up with
vice.
a bag of weed? What does he think he's
I don't
got
know.
in there? He's got a pound of
I don't
cocaine
know.
in there. Do you know
he's
that?
married with a kid already. What the hell?
Does he have a kid?
I
Bo's
thought
got
he
a kid
did, yeah.
now?
No, he is married. I'm pretty sure.
I know he's married.
I don't think he has a kid.
Okay, maybe not. But he's a
he's
responsible
married.
dude already.
Definitely married. I don't think he has a kid.
You all know the Elway stuff since, 1983 or 4, whatever that stat is, first rookie quarterback. Would this stat blow your mind?
What do you got?
Because it shouldn't, but it kind of did blow my mind. Do you know he is the first rookie quarterback to start week 1 in Sean Payton's 17-year career?
That wouldn't be too surprising to me.
17 years coaching the NFL, and the guy's never had a rookie start week 1.
How many of those years did he have Drew Brees as his
All
quarterback?
of them, almost all of them.
Right, and he didn't have Drew Brees as
Drew Brees.
He didn't have Drew Brees as a rookie, and so the vast majority of his career was Drew Brees. And then at the end there, I knew that they didn't start a rookie at the end of his time. I mean, how many years was he in New Orleans after Drew Brees retired? 3 more years, maybe 2?
Yeah,
and
not
it was
very
like
long.
Jameis Winston, and it was, he was going the vet route. They were trying
Taysom Hill experiments.
Yeah, he thought Taysom Hill was going to be a franchise quarterback, and then obviously got to Denver, and it was 1 year. So not the most surprising. It is interesting to see what, and I think this is the conversation that's interesting to me, is that it's a good offensive minded head coach and a quarterback that seemingly fits that system well. And so I think to that point of that stat, it's how does Sean Payton develop and grow a young quarterback? Like Colin made this point about Bo being the most, having the best rookie year of all the quarterbacks. And I'm not there. I don't think he's going to do that. Would love to see it. But all the other rookie quarterbacks are playing for defensive-minded head coaches. Every single one. Jaden Daniels, defensive-minded. Chicago, defensive-minded. You go up and down the list. All the other guys are.
And
New
McCarthy's
England,
hurt.
And McCarthy's hurt. And he would be the only other option there. And so I think that's the part of this. It's like, hey, Sean Payton is supposed to be this offensive guru. He had all these great years in New Orleans where they won all these games and, couldn't quite get over the hump after winning the one Super Bowl in 2009. Now he's got his first chance to kind of mold a young quarterback, really for the first time since they acquired Drew Brees, however many years ago that was. And so the first time he's going to start a rookie, I'm curious to see what he's willing to let him do, how aggressive he's willing to be early in the season, how much patience he's willing to have with him, because Bo is going to have bad games. He's going to make terrible mistakes. All rookie quarterbacks do, and it's going to be a test and a challenge for Sean Payton as well.
One season after 2020. Breeze retired. That was the 2020 season. They lost it at home to Tampa in the playoffs.
So it was just Jameis, right, in 2021?
So it was just J-Mo for the 1 year, and then he left. He went to Denver. He's 8-9.
And I think he got there, and Breeze was already the guy in 06, right?
He's never had less than 7 wins in a season. Their over-under's 5.5. I think it's pretty simple. You kind of alluded to it there, but for me, knowing it was always going to be Bo, this is a bigger year for Peyton than it is Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Bo Nix,
you got your guy. You say it's your guy, you got your guy.
It's going to be up and down for Bo. I don't expect Denver to be all that good. I know we're reacting to 2 preseason games, one of which was against a team literally not playing anybody.
Also last year, too. Like, that's still
it's a little bare. That defense, it's not just offense. The defense is a little suspect and questionable at best. And so, rookie quarterbacks are going to struggle. I don't think it's about aggression. I think it's about development. And for me with Sean Payton, the 12-4 year they lost at home to Tampa,
that was the Brady year. They had a lead in that game.
Yeah, they blew that lead, and that was kind of like the writing on the wall. You could see it with Breeze. Wasn't quite there.
Yeah.
They lost that NFC title game to the Rams in the questionable game.
Yes.
I haven't really looked at the Peyton stuff, and I know 12-4 is certainly a great record. I didn't really buy the Saints that year. I remember doing the show, and I'm like, I knew they were good. They had home field advantage, but I didn't buy them. I think when we sprayed the line that week, I remember taking the Bucks. So I think Peyton's got a little bit of prove it for me, especially after what I saw last year with Russ.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you got your rookie now. Go read all the intel. This is his dude.
Yeah, it's the guy he loved.
Go prove it. And he's had a great career as a coach, certainly. I think it's crazy to say, but I also believe it. I think it's a bigger year for Sean Payton than Bo Nix.
Yeah, when you identify the quarterback that you think fits best in your system, he has bragged about tricking the Raiders into not taking Bo Nix because he's bragged about where they were in the draft order and calling the Raiders about moving up or down or thinking about moving down. They wanted to get him off the scent.
Which is a weird thing.
The Raiders would take him.
The intel is that the Raiders liked Penix, not Nix.
And they had the chance to draft Penix, right? And they didn't do it.
No.
Were they after 8?
They were after 8.
That's right. They were
the Falcons
11.
taking Penix 8 shook everything.
So I mean, you have circled this guy and identified him as the right fit for your system and the right fit for your offense. And now let's see what you can do, man. I'm genuinely excited. I think it's a good place for Bo to go. I don't look at them as a incompetent organization. I know the Russ deal blew up in their face, but part of making a mistake in professional sports is acknowledging that mistake and getting out of it as soon as possible.
I agree with that.
And they looked at Russ and were like, dude, we'll eat the money. We're the Walmart family, and go ahead. We'll pay $80 million to not have
rookie
play here.
Scale deal. We
can afford this for the next couple of years. And so they admitted their mistake. I don't look at this as like, oh, God, he went to fill-in-the-blank bad organization. He has a proven head coach.
It's
not Carolina.
No.
It's good. It should be a good owner. Should be a good head coach. Like, this is all a good fit for him. And so I'm really excited to see what they can do this year.
A little sports nostalgia for you. Next on The Fan.
Oregon Ducks football is on The Fan.
Back off play action to throw. Going deep down the left side.
We'll be joined by Josh Pate very shortly. Very quickly here, a couple things and items to touch on. Joey Votto is hanging him up.
Love Joey Votto.
Everybody loves Joey Votto. Is he a Hall of Famer? I saw this. He's 2010 NL MVP, 2011 Gold Glove, 356 career homers, a 409 on base percentage, 2,100 hits, a 920 OPS, 6-time All-Star, and a 64.4 B WAR. The only players to lead the league in on-base percentage 7 times or more. Ted Williams did it 12. Bonds did it 10. Babe Ruth and Rogers Hornsby.
That's it.
Rogers
Hornsby. Yeah, they used to put S's on the end of Rogers back in the day for first names.
Bring that back. I kind of like it.
Rogers Hornsby.
I have a friend.
Big fan.
I have a friend who's they're gonna have a baby, and she wants. She's looking for baby names, and so we were in the car the other day, and we're all just firing off names.
7.
Well, it's going to be a girl, and I'm like, Charlie,
yeah.
with a Y,
because
the IE is masculine.
That's right. We thought about Charlie if we were going to have a girl. That was one of our top
I think
girl
it's a cute
names.
little girl's name.
Charlie's a solid girl's name.
Votto, Hall of Famer. Is he a Hall of Famer?
This one's easy for me.
Not in your personal Hall of Fame.
I
Do
know.
you actually think he'll get into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame?
Yes, I do. I do think that he will get in, and he is personally in my Hall of Fame. You have an MVP under your belt. That's a very exclusive award to win.
Well, Dylan Murphy.
I mean, he should be in the Hall of Fame. It's laughable that he's not.
2-time MVP.
I'd be curious to look at their career numbers side by side and see where they're at.
Let me look them up.
His career average being 294 and having the end of his career where he did, like, the last 4 years of his career were not, like, he's 39 years old. Not many guys hold on that long.
Yeah.
And so his last 2 years, he had 205, 202. Like, the batting average sunk like a stone.
But I hate that, like, we can't have context to...
Yeah, his career average should be like 310, if we're being honest, because the last 2 years he was a shell of himself and he only played like 60 games.
That was my guy. Andrew Jones won't get in the Hall because his last, 3 years weren't good.
They were ugly. They dragged down their career numbers.
Wasn't he connected to some substances too?
Andrew Jones?
Yeah.
No.
Wow. Shots fired from Schultz.
No, first you're giving Bo Nix a kid. Now you're giving my favorite center fielder of all time steroid allegations.
He played in the middle of the steroid era, but he was definitely clean. He definitely never did anything.
Well, I'm not saying he was. Look, I'm just saying, like you said, wasn't he connected?
I thought his name was connected to a few conversations. I might be
Why
wrong.
don't you piss off? That's a 10 straight Gold Glove winner. Arguably the best defensive center fielder of all time.
Yes, but then when he was with the Yankees, all he did was, bat 210 and hit home runs. That's kind of what Andrew Jones is known for.
He had a 17-year career. How awful.
Yeah. Extended by...
Do you want to fight? Do you want to just put the mics off and fight?
Let's go outside.
I think that's where we're going right now. You win an MVP. You win a Gold Glove. He was top 10 in MVP voting multiple times. He was top 5 in MVP voting 3 different times.
Yeah.
He led the league in walks and on-base percentage, I think, 6 or 7 times. Like, he was kind of a throwback player even in this more modern era where batting averages have slowly dipped and on-base percentages have slowly dipped. And I know he's not necessarily as much in this new wave, and he broke in 2007, but you lead the league in on-base percentage in 7 years of your, what did he play, 17 years career? That's remarkable, dude. He was a great defender. He was a great clubhouse guy. He was a face of a franchise for 2 decades nearly.
And by the way,
got an MVP. Like, that dude's absolutely a Hall of Famer.
A franchise that had 2 great years in his career, and great is loosely used there.
They blew a 2-0 lead to my team. They should have won the division around that year.
He never left.
Never left.
He stayed loyal to that city. That city loved him, and it was the only thing they could identify until they got Ellie De La Cruz.
Dude, if you're telling me Jeff Bagwell's a Hall of Famer, get the hell out of here. Joey Votto's a Hall of Famer, and it's a first ballot.
By the way, he bests Murphy in quite a bit of stats.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have 2 MVPs.
A little more recent example, by the way, Joe Mauer was just put into the Hall of Fame
Yeah,
last
that's a
year.
good one. Mauer got in.
I mean, yeah, I get it. He had an MVP under his belt. He got over 2,000 hits, so he did hit some metrics, but I
also give credit to being a catcher. That's...
Well,
Joe Mauer deserves to be. Joe Mauer's a Hall of Famer. Are you arguing Joe Mauer's not a Hall of Famer?
I'm saying it's borderline, and then seeing Joey Votto with even more top 5 MVP finishes under his belt, a ton more homers, ton more ribbies.
I hate that we do this gated community thing.
Too hard on
this guy, Joe Mauer was a stud for a decade. That's a Hall of Famer.
On that good as a catcher.
He's also got
a crappy team.
crappy team. The Twins were
back then?
great
They
back
were really
then.
good.
They were in the playoffs every year. They couldn't win in the playoffs,
They
but they were in the
couldn't be the
playoffs every
Yankees.
year. They've lost like 80 straight games to the Yankees dating back to 1952, but that's not his fault. He wasn't the only reason they did. Joe Mauer's also one of those guys that has like mythical stories about him. Have you ever heard his high school football stories?
I haven't, no.
Like bananas.
Really?
Like threw for 700 yards and 70 touchdowns, like insane high school football player in the state of Minnesota. While his high school
he's a hometown guy.
He's
too.
He's a Minnesota kid.
That's
His
pretty
high school
cool.
baseball stats, he hit like 700 his senior year. Just remarkable the stories that circulate about him. But absolutely a Hall of Famer, and Joey Votto. We are way too strict. Like just you got to feel. You either know or you don't. You look at Joey Votto. We all saw him play for 17 years. Hall of Famer. Hall of Famer. It's an easy answer. You don't want him to be first ballot. Whatever. Put him in the second ballot.
Eli Manning, no.
2 Super Bowls.
They made it to
Beat
3.
Brady
You
twice.
didn't watch Eli
Beat
Manning
Brady
play.
twice. 17
he's
and
the only
0.
guy to beat Brady.
17 and 0.
Him and Big D Foles.
I've seen there's actually a push right now from Giants folks who say they want the Giants to re-sign Barry Bonds to a 1-day contract, have him retire, so his Hall of Fame candidacy restarts
Well,
again.
I watched a cool thing. Maddox has a doc coming out, a docu-series about him, and there's a video blurb of him and Bonds watching an at-bat like separately, but at the same time.
It is baseball porn, man.
It is, and I'm just like, that guy's not going to get in the Hall of Fame. It's unbelievable because he did a little bit of something. Very quickly, because we need to go. Remember the day when Sports Illustrated made a Super Bowl pick? It was a big deal.
I do. I remember when their top 25s used to be a big deal. Famously, Oregon State, #1 overall. Fresno State, hello.
SI's Super Bowl pick is the Lions.
Lions over who?
I didn't
see.
I didn't read.
Didn't
Much
read,
like
just
everybody else, I
saw
didn't
the
read
headline?
Sports
Okay.
Illustrated. I just saw the headline. But it took me back of like, I remember how big of a deal it was when Sports Illustrated did college football picks and NFL picks. And now I couldn't care less.
Couldn't care less.
I could not care less.
The ironic thing about their picks is that when they had a #1 overall, you never wanted to be at #1 in the SI poll. It was like the Madden curse. If you were the number
It
one
was a
team
little bit of that,
in
yeah,
the preseason poll,
right.
you're like, oh, God, this is going to be a bad year, man. It was cool to see the cover of the magazine because your team would be on it, but you knew immediately this is not going to end well for us. Sports Illustrated's got a bad track record.
Always Skodux tweets, fire Schultz. These baseball takes are insane.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, is it the Joe Mauer or Andrew Jones take? What are we pissing people off about now?
Andrew Jones was
Probably both.
connected- Andrew Jones was in the steroid era. Like I'm not speaking out of turn there. And
No. You said, but specifically you made it sound like he was connected to something.
It was kind of aggressive.
You can't just play in an era and connect every player.
No, but in that
Is Tom
era,
Glavine a steroid abuser?
Every player
Probably.
for about a
His
10-year
old ass
period
bitch, like
should
he's
be
52,
questioned.
man. How do you think he made it that long?
Come on. No, obviously
Guy
Vladimir
was on
Guerrero.
the HGH.
Now you're putting Vladdy?
No,
Vladdy!
that's what you guys
Don't
said.
do it!
No, I was
Put
about
Vlad
to
in
say
that.
no. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is not somebody that should. No, but that's obvious because he was always injured. Kind of like Ken Griffey Jr. Come on,
Of course,
there's
his
different
guy,
arguments.
his guy never did it. My guy was clean.
Edgar and Randy.
Edgar never
Derek
touched
Jeter,
the stuff.
Derek Jeter probably never did steroids. Like he was in that era.
Why
as
do
well.
you say that?
Because he was known. Like there are so many people that you've heard through circles of conversations. All right, yeah, they're connected to it, but when it comes to Jeter and Griffey, the conversations are much different. And Jeter's not my guy. Come on, yeah, Jeets. Like what the hell are you talking about?
Why is Jones in this and not Jeter?
Look at the two. Look at Andrew Jones's body
Does Ryan
type.
Braun look like a steroid user?
Yeah, Fernando Tatis Jr., steroid
did
user.
Ryan Braun
Randomly
look
had
like
a
a
good
steroid user? Yes, he
40-year-old
did.
Who
D.
random-
Gordon. D.
Hey.
Gordon looked like a steroid user.
Hold on. Randomly, who was
Mariner
just good
legend.
at 40 years old in his last year?
Derek Jeter came out of nowhere at the end of his
Really
career.
weird, isn't that? Huh? Oh, but no, he's not buff, so he can't be in it.
Never.
I said he wasn't connected to them in the circles of.
But you are the only one connecting to Andrew Jones.
It's
I'm
so
not-
dumb that
I
we even
Google it,
have to do this, right?
and
Like, it's
he's
so
in
dumb.
the
I don't
list.
care if you did or, like, put him in the damn Hall of Fame.
He's
What
in
are we
the
doing?
era.
This era of baseball didn't happen.
Joe Mauer, for me, is borderline. And I was trying to make the comparison that looking at him last year getting into Joey Votto's numbers, Joey Votto should be a absolute slam dunk. That's the only point I was trying to make.
Joe Mauer's no Cal Raleigh.
And Joe... Oh, shut up.
That
Cal
dumper's
Raleigh-
a little... It's not authentic looking to me.
you think he
Did he get a
injected his
BBL?
dumper? He got a BBL?
Is there a BBL? Did he
Does
go to
that
Brazil?
count?
Cal Raleigh's average sucks. I think he has thrown out near the top amount of base stealers this year. He's hit a ton of home runs. He's the Mariners' best hitter. Is he the top catcher in the league? No. I suck for making that take. I will eat crow all day for that. But yeah, it's easy to get a little high on my Mariners every once in a
Does a
while. okay?
BBL count as steroids?
If it helps you get the ball and the bat.
When you hit one of those drives and you're like, hey, that was a 2-cheek swing. Like, I got all that
thing
one.
Doesn't go if he doesn't quite have as much oomph behind him.
He's got a lot of junk in the trunk. I think we should test it. I want to test his BBL.
That's a good poll question. Does Cal Raleigh's butt,
yes,
the size of his butt, help the ball go further?
Absolutely it does. That's why he's the big dumper.
I mean, and it's sitting up pretty perky.
It is.
His age, I don't know if it should be so perky.
It's not flabby at all. It's very
a lot
firm.
of allegations when Cal Raleigh retires. I don't know, man.
I'm going to be there on Saturday. I'm going to walk. I'm going to check out Cal Raleigh's dumper. I'll report back on Monday to you.
Yeah,
okay?
cop a feel. Let me know.
I'm going to do this. We're already past it. Let's just call Pate. This breaks about 4 minutes. I mean, I don't think he's going to care. So,
okay.
Josh Pate next on the Fan.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update is brought to you by A&E Plumbing, Heating, and Air, serving Portland, Southwest Washington, and the Gorge. Online at ANEHeatingandCooling.com. It's hard to stop a train. First on the Fan, more futility for the Seattle Mariners. They lose to the Los Angeles Dodgers last night, 8-4, and that completes the sweep for LA. Logan Gilbert giving up 8 runs in just 4 2/3. It's a 1-8 road trip for Seattle. They're now sitting at 500 at 64-64. Still 5 games out of first in the AL West. In college football, Iowa head coach and known scoring hater Kirk Ferentz has been suspended for 1 game for a violation related to the recruitment of transfer quarterback Cade McNamara. And in the NFL, the final week of the preseason kicking off tonight, you got the Bengals hosting the Colts at 5 p.m. That one's kind of a preseason Thursday night football matchup. It's on Amazon Prime. Then the Bears taking on the Chiefs in Kansas City at 5:20. That one's on NFL Network. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
It's The Fan on FM. Go to 99.5 FM HD2 and enjoy high def 1080 The Fan.
Hey, it's Suk, and summer is a time to feel and look your best. And I'm not talking about your tan or your abs. Guys, I'm talking about your hair. Don't be like me. Restore that bald spot. Reverse your receding hairline or add volume to decades of thinning hair during Advanced Hair's once-yearly summer sales event. Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day. It can even grow for life. Did I mention? Advanced Hair even guarantees your new hair will grow. Take advantage of your flexible summer calendar and get the most hair for your dollar during Advanced Hair's best offer ever. The summer sales event is on for a limited time, so schedule your free consultation and get the details today. 503-832-HAIR. One-day treatment, life-changing results with Advanced Hair. Your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Check out the incredible before and afters and get your saving details while it's still available. That's 503-832-HAIR or advancedhair.com. That's advancedhair.com.
This is the story of the one. As a warehouse manager, her job is to transform chaos into clarity and to see patterns where others see problems. Luckily, she's got a partner who shares her perspective. Grainger offers over 1 million industrial-grade products, backed by real-person support and in-depth online resources, so she can tackle every task with precision and turn potential setbacks into streamlined success. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Diego.
Hi, Diego. It's Jennifer Coolidge. I just want to say your cashback match makes me feel so special. It really inspired me.
That's great. Doubling the cashback you've earned at the end of your first year is what we do.
Well, I'm doubling everything now. Double dating, double dipping, double feature, double header, double whammy. Basically double or nothing.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Lowe's knows saving pros time and money means getting the job done easier. Right now, get up to 50% off select composite decking and railing. Plus, get an extra 5% off every day on eligible purchases when you use your Lowe's Business Credit Card. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location while supplies last. 5% off or subject to credit approval. Exclusions and terms apply. See store at lowes.com/credit for details.
In this wide world of sports, some stories can slip through the cracks.
Now, before we do this, let's go over the ground rules.
Pelican Brewing presents The Daily Ticker, where Dirt and Sprague visit with the insiders that are covering the stories you've heard about. And and some you haven't.
How'd you do that? Actually, I'm not even mad. It's amazing.
The Daily Ticker with Dirt and Sprague is poured by Pelican Brewing. Be ready for your next afternoon vacation with Beak Breaker Tropical. Pelican Brewing, born at the beach.
All right, Daily Ticker time brought to you by Pelican Brewing. Visit pelicanbrewing.com for more details on locations, events, award-winning beers, independently brewed since 1996. Pelican Brewing, born at the beach. It looks like sometimes in modern recruiting, verbal commitments stick. Doesn't always happen.
Makes me nervous every time.
You got to get to signing day. It's never a guarantee. You get the verbal commitment, and then on signing day, you're just, who else is giving you a call? Could you flip somewhere else? Is he going to Mobile? Is it Birmingham? I don't know where it's going to be.
What's the NIL like?
I think our recruiting pitch, it worked, and the verbal commitment stuck. It is signing day. Josh Pate joining us again at Late Kick Josh, the host of Late Kick Live, Late Kick Podcast every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday tonight at 5 o'clock our time live on YouTube. Josh, do you read me? Do you copy? Are you there?
Yeah, it was a tough day yesterday. I went about my day, and, people just come up to you during the day at the gym or at work and say, hey, how you doing? And they expect I'm good. Well, yesterday they got I'm not doing so well. No. And then they asked why, and I just said you wouldn't understand. But really, it all stemmed from what happened yesterday morning.
It was devastating for everybody involved.
I mean, I was ready for a 15-minute conversation about Clint Black. I liked the direction we were going, and then the phone cut out. I was all jacked up, man. I was ready to talk country music with you.
Ironically, Clint Black was one of the people at the gym who I told my day sucked to. So, it is what it is. I like the rain. I fell for it yesterday.
I actually find you to be probably one of the more nicer people. I remember reaching out to you years ago, and you responded pretty quickly. You've always been very kind to us out west, and now we got a Big Ten team, and, we got a looming Power 4 team in Oregon State maybe one day, hopefully. What is the most awkward time somebody has come up to talk to you? Like, are we talking like mid-curl, like Pate's pushing through, it's the 8th rep of the set, he's got the 80s in each hand, he's getting his Arnold on, and midway, love the show, man, how you doing? Like, what is the most weirdest random interaction you've had?
This is very easy answer. It's when you're wrapping up at the urinal and someone starts a conversation. I'm talking post-zip, reach for the flush, someone says, bro, I wanted to run something by you. Well, not here, you don't. Oh, yes. No, I do. Right here. Hear me out. 2.5 minutes on Penn State.
The worst would be them
Your
looking.
James Franklin takes piss me off, Josh.
The worst would be you're in that situation that you could tell they're kind of side-eyeing you in the Penn State, huh? And you're just like, oh, this is weird. I don't know what to do right now.
Make it awkward eye contact.
Yeah, and sometimes we don't even have the dividers between us. It's a trough situation.
Yeah, what's with you guys in the South? I experienced this for the first time at Nebraska. I went to the Oregon-Nebraska game, and I really had to go. And here I am, just me and 8 dudes at a trough. It just was a very interesting experience.
Well, at least it wasn't circular. What do you have against community, by the way? That's the heart. That's the pulse of a community.
Well, quite literally could be the pulse. Depends on the time of day.
Yeah, the circular trough is that's when you get into some issues, man. Everybody's out, everybody's open, and everybody's looking at each other. Let's get to some football, shall we? So Oregon's going to the Big Ten. You talk about this a lot on your show. We hear from it, and I know you hear from it as well, of the who is Dan Lanning beaten? What has Dan Lanning won? Why is Dan Lanning getting all of this attention and all of this hype? I'm a golf guy, and I like to go down the belief of it's not he hasn't, or it's not that he can't, it's that he hasn't yet. Like Xander Schauffele was this way a year ago in golf. Just hadn't won a major. It didn't mean he couldn't. He just hadn't done it yet. When you see a lot of that, and I'm sure Dan Lanning's not the only coach, how frustrating is it to you to look at some of these guys young in their career and realize they've only been a coach for 1 or 2 years, but that's already the narrative out there?
Oh, well, it's not frustrating to me because it assures I'll always have a job. Because if a lot of people think like that, then at least my voice will stand out a little bit. But it stuns me in one way, and it doesn't stun me in another way that people think like that. I call it 10 or trash mentality, where you're either racking up national titles like Nick Saban or Kirby Smart, or you suck. There are no rungs on the ladder. There is no really good, pretty good, above average. That's the way a normal scale, a sliding scale would work. In this world, you're either a multiple-time championship winner or you haven't won anything. Like, what has he won? And I'll tell you where that's really going to bite some folks. We're coming out of this Nick Saban era where the word dynasty got thrown around, and rightly so. That was probably the best one we've ever seen in college football. I doubt we'll see dynasties again. If by dynasty people mean winning multiple titles over a certain year period, just because the era of the portal, NIL, plus expanded playoff all happening at the same time spreads things so much thinner that it may be impossible. And so what we're doing is we got Nick Saban 5 minutes behind us. That era, 5 minutes behind us, it's the lasting image in people's minds. Everyone's going to be held to that standard. So if you hadn't done what he's done, like, what have you really won? And it's ludicrous. So with Lanning, I mean, 3 years in, entering a third year, to be shouting, what has this guy won, is mind-boggling to me. To look at their talent acquisition, to look at all the indicators, in other words, that usually foretell winning down the road in a big way, he's got all of them. And yet, time and time again, for 150 years, people have watched this sport and not learned anything, apparently. So I guess Dan Lanning hasn't won anything. And also, by the way, guys, I guess if you haven't literally put a national title on your mantle within 2 years, you're just incapable of doing it. Is that the logic that I'm supposed to be buying into when I dare to talk up Dan Lanning and someone comes back with, well, he hasn't won anything? What am I supposed to even do? Am I supposed to say, all right, 8-4 at best, let's move on?
Guy's a bum.
There's a famous video of you seeing Lanning at a game, and I can't remember if it may have been last year.
It was the Washington game.
It was the Washington game, and and you guys, there was a video, and you guys were given Nux.
I'm sure Husky fan let you forget that one.
I'm sure. But, like, I would imagine your relationship started not in Eugene. It started when he was probably at Georgia, and maybe even before that at somewhere like Memphis. I don't know, but I'd imagine you've known each other for a little bit. I'm curious, Kirby's name, Kirby says something, and it makes waves. And Saban kind of had that mantle and may still have that mantle, but he's gone now, right? He's not coaching in the sport. It might be Kirby, but Georgia's had a very troubling off-the-field off-season. But Kirby even mentions Dan's name. And then Big Ten Media Days here, and there's a floating duck in a river, and Lanning is saying all the things, and now they've got this docuseries about that team out west. I'm curious, are you surprised, knowing Lanning as long as you have, that in a weird way he hasn't won yet, and I think I would put him at or near the top of probably biggest voices in the sport already?
That's a good way to put it. So two things. Number one, I agree with you. I think not just Dan, but the folks around him have a really good broad sense of the game. You know, he is a football coach, but at the same time, you're a major face, you're a major player in the second biggest sport in America. And so some guys get that and some guys don't. Some guys have no interest in getting that. Some guys want to be football coaches, and that's completely fine. But there is a whole lot higher ceiling. There's more oxygen in the room than just wearing the whistle around your neck when you have that head coaching title. I think they get that. A lot of that is indicated in the stuff you talked about. You never go too long in this sport without hearing either his name or hearing University of Oregon or hearing something about them in the main frame of the conversation. I mean, they haven't played a game in the Big Ten yet. They're the second or at worst third most talked about team in the Big Ten right now. I guarantee you Oregon's talked about more than Penn State, and Penn State's been there forever. So that's not an accident. The second thing, and this is something to watch going forward, I talked to Kirby about this when we had him on the show in the spring. With Saban out of the room, that voice, that face that everyone used to look to be like the mouthpiece for college football is not there as an active head coach. So who fills that void? And people think that's insignificant. It is very significant because if you don't have smart, informed people as major voices at the table, you'll still have voices at the table, but in their place will be uneducated, uninformed, and ill-prepared voices, which is, by the way, how college football got in the position it's in right now, which is largely a mess. So you need those authoritative voices. So who's that going to be? So I asked Kirby that. You can tell, man, he's a little uncomfortable with inserting himself into that role. A lot of these guys are uncomfortable because that's not what they aspired to be. They didn't aspire to be some ambassador. They aspired to be a head coach. But when you take those positions, it is my personal belief that baked into your core responsibility is to go above and beyond just being the face of your program. The biggest ones, the 5 or 10 biggest ones, they have to be ambassadors for the sport as well, or else the sport ends up drifting in a direction we don't want it to go. So Dan Lanning's one of those. I just don't think we have a singular one of those right now.
Interesting. We're talking with the commissioner, Josh Pate, at Late Kick Josh on Twitter. Go give him a follow. The host of Late Kick Live, the Late Kick podcast, every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, 5 o'clock our time, live on YouTube. Looking forward to the show tonight. Kirby had comments, since we're talking about him, recently recently about kind of bemoaning his depth and saying it's the depth of his depth on his roster because of the transfer portal. And on the one hand, I see that and I think, hey, this is kind of one of those positives of the NIL and the transfer portal, that they can't just stockpile talent and be 100 points better than everybody else. And then on the other hand, I think, am I falling for a Kirby Smart trap right now where he's saying this publicly about his team, even though he knows he has enough depth, but he's trying to throw a little red meat out there into the locker room? What was your read on those comments? And do you think this is maybe a more balanced depth look that we've had at the top of the sport than we've ever had?
Yeah, he doesn't really do that thing. The latter part of what you said. I mean, he'll try and motivate his guys sometimes, but you follow that guy, you hang around him long enough, you come to learn if he says it, he just means it. He's very brutally honest about that stuff. He's very brutally honest about assessing his team. When I had him in the spring, one of the first things out of his mouth was, I'm really concerned about our defensive depth up front. We're young at safety. They just had to dismiss a guy at safety. They're very young back there. They're probably going to rely on some freshmen to play. Now, they're 5-star, but they got to rely on them to play. They're not their vintage self, able to take over games and suffocate you with 2 or 3 deep guys that are going to play on Sundays on the defensive line. So, that's been a concern of his, and it's an overarching concern because you're right. They can't just stack those guys anymore. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I guess depends on your vantage point. I'm sure folks at Boise State think that's a good thing. I think the folks in the South would think that's a bad thing. So that all depends on your perspective. But long term, let me tell you this too. There are some people in the South who believe Kirby Smart is on the backside of his career because of that. Now, that sounds weird because he's not even 50 years old yet, and history says if you're at a premier program like that and you're his age, you still got another 20 years. If he wants it, he still does have another 20 years. There's a school of thought, shall I say, in the South that maybe the changing landscape, some of the things that pushed Nick Saban into retirement could push some of these other guys towards that route as well, and those guys may just be a lot younger than Nick Saban. So it's something to keep an eye on. If you're the head coach at Georgia, you're always going to have the advantage relative to the field. But that's not the way those guys look at it. Those guys look at it as there's a way I like to do it. There are certain non-negotiables. I'm all about evolution, but then there are certain non-negotiables. And if I have to start, like Dabo's dealing with it right now with the portal, if I start having to venture down the road of revisiting my non-negotiables, that may be a non-starter.
We've talked a lot about Ohio State on this show because, well, Oregon's in the Big Ten now, and we'll see what Washington's going to be, and Lincoln Riley and USC, and Ohio State absolutely loaded. I mean, a ton of people are picking them to win the title, if not the Big Ten Conference at a minimum. And we've noted, Ryan Day's record at Ohio State. And we had somebody on CBS yesterday who says he's probably the coach most, untrustworthy in a big game. That's an obvious name because he's 1-6 against top 5. It's just, I'm not always been the biggest Ryan Day guy, but we've just sat here and been like, do you see this record? Do you see how they're recruiting? The discourse, it's not even a question, Josh. The discourse of Ryan Day this offseason has been what to you?
A little warped, I guess, at the very least. Look, there's a reality about recruiting at the level they do and being resourced at the level they are. This is not the NFL. So no one really cares about record. People care about record in the NFL because allegedly everyone starts from the same playing field, and then if you suck, that's your fault. It's not because you make X amount of dollars less than the Raiders or whatever. So in college football, and I don't think this is really unfair, this part of it, nobody cares if Ohio State beats Purdue 10 times out of 10. No one cares about their record against Minnesota. They're supposed to beat them. If they don't, it's a totally different conversation you got to have. You are going to get judged based on your record against a handful of teams. Now, I'll give Ryan Day credit. We've had him on the show twice in the past couple of months, and every time he almost beats you to saying it. The words come out of his mouth before they have a chance to come out of yours, and every time it's, I know what you have to do here. I'm not an idiot. I get it. I know what my job is. I know if I don't beat those teams, they're going to fire me. I mean, those were his exact words when we had him on in the spring. And but at the same time, those are his words. Those aren't my words. I look at it, and I always ask myself, all right, what are you really advocating for? When people say that, I really want them to put their cards on the table. Don't speak arbitrarily. Don't fragment your thoughts. Just tell me if you think that about Ryan Day. Let's say he loses to Michigan this year. They go 11-1 in the regular season, lost to Michigan. Let's say they go 10-2, lose to Oregon and Michigan. That means they're a playoff team. What are you advocating for? Are you advocating for his firing? And if you're advocating for his firing, are you telling me definitively you will upgrade from him? The answer is always, well, All right, well, if you don't have a definitive answer, then stop making the definitive statements. I get what people are saying. I think that they will silence a lot of that this year. It's my personal belief they have the team to silence a lot of that this year, and revisiting those statements a few months from now will provide a lot of entertainment. But even here in the moment, even before they've done it, even before we know, I think a lot of it's very warped.
It's funny how similar the conversation was about Jim Harbaugh 3 years ago and his record against top 5 teams and his record against, I think it was 0-5 against Ohio State, and then he finally broke through, and how different the narrative is shortly after. Last one for you, Josh. I know it's a show day for you. We appreciate the verbal commitment sticking today. You wade into these social media bubbles every now and then, and expectations can be all over the map for certain teams. I am seeing Washington fan on one side saying, hey, nobody gave us a chance 2 years ago. We hired Kalen DeBoer, and we won 10 games, and nobody talked about us in the preseason. Look what Jed Fish did at Arizona. And then others saying, we're replacing basically everybody and an entire new staff. 6 wins would be lucky. Just curious your read on Washington as they're going into their first year in the Big Ten with so many changes on that organizational roster.
Yeah, well, they won't be in any kind of conference title contention conversation. I think the best way to gauge that is to listen to the head coach there. I mean, Jed Fish, if anyone's listened to him, has done his best to temper expectation, provide a realistic time frame. He understands. They're not starting over in a sense that he's inheriting a poor program. It's a very unique situation. Normally, if you're talking about the kind of lift he has there, it means the guy that you're taking over for got fired. Well, the guy he's taking over for was so good, he got the Alabama job. The unique circumstance is it just so happens his entire roster left, either to transfer or to the NFL. So you're taking over a really rock-solid program, but it's just you have to rebuild the roster within the program, which is not normally the kind of yin and yang that he's dealing with. So I don't think it's a multi-year rebuild, but to think this year they're right back in that thing is a little far-fetched. I think he understands that. I think that's why he, at Big Ten Media Day, answered as frequently as possible. His biggest challenge is building a football team, like building a roster. Like he didn't say program, he said roster for that very reason.
It's good to know that Josh Pate verbal commitment still means something. At Late Kick Josh on Twitter, the host of Late Kick Live, the Late Kick Podcast, tonight live on YouTube, 5 o'clock our time, also every Sunday and Tuesday, back to 3 days a week now that college football season is upon us. Thanks as always, my man. Looking forward to next week, and we'll chat again soon.
I appreciate it, guys.
There you go. Josh Pate. Good stuff from him.
The phone was glorious
We
today.
got it. We got it. Well done, everybody.
It
Good
sounded
work.
like a landline.
Good job. Good effort. We went a little bit long.
We're way over
A little bit long.
We got to go. Ken's
Let's
up
take
next.
a break. Ken is not up next.
Yeah,
He'll
I
be
know.
up
I know.
kind of next.
That's my point.
Back after this.
Who's stinking it up?
Do not go in there.
It's time for Who's Stinking It Up, a sports lowlight that's ripped from the headlines.
We couldn't do diddly poo.
Brought to you by Three Mountains Home Services. Schedule your appointment online at threemountainshomservices.com.
Mookie Betts the hitter. First pitch swung on. Line drive over the outstretched glove of Rojas. Down into the corner. Scoring is right behind is Ohtani. And it's a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, there's Sims on the call. Root Sports, Mariners get swept by the Doyers. They fall again. I'm not choosing this. This was a Schultze's choice, and he's rocking Mariner gear. So
I'm going to be up there Saturday. Should be good vibes in the pink. Can't wait. Maybe my orange and black.
Your team's struggling, so it means it's probably a win for you guys.
It could be a win
because
for
the Mariners
us.
Can't beat anybody right now.
Sneak down to the front row.
Who's stinking it up? The M's brought to you by Three Mountains Home Services. Make your home services delightful. Let the pros tackle the projects you need completed. Schedule an appointment online. Three Mountains Home Services. That's threemountainshomservices.com.
Hey, Vancouver and online at crunch.com.
All right, Crunch Time brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 a month. Find your Crunch Time in Portland, Vancouver online at crunch.com.
Ken Barkley is next.
It happens. So, the commish comes on. The commish is going to commandeer a bit of the show. That's the way it's going to work.
Yeah.
And so, look, you got to juggle things every now and then. We do have Ken Barkley to start the final hour. I'm very excited about that. I did see this yesterday. So we have a Coke-off going on in college football. I'm going to play these quickly. This will be your Crunch Time segment. Crunch Time to figure out should you or should you not drink Coca-Cola products. Lane Kiffin did this at his presser the other day.
Does anybody drink Coke? You realize that 130% of your sugar for the entire day is in this one bottle. 65 grams of sugar. A long time. I don't know. Chris Lowe drinks Coke, though. I do know that.
Shout out to Chris Lowe. They're a sponsor of Ole Miss football.
The bottle was on the podium.
Bottle was on the podium, and that's what led to this. Well, yesterday, Brian Kelly at LSU, also sponsored by Coca-Cola, walked up to his post-practice press conference and gave him one of these.
Just a shout out to our sponsor, Coke. Smart water.
Recruiting
great
wars.
Coke product. Minerals, vitamins.
What?
It's just great for you. It's refreshing, healthy. And
I think he's talking
Coke
smart
provides
water.
you all the products that you need, depending on what you like.
Oh,
and,
okay. Smart
I love
water,
smart
yeah.
water. You caught on.
Ooh, it's good. It's good. we got a Coke off. Does Coke drop Ole Miss from their sponsorships? Hey, whoa. What
They
are we
might,
doing here?
but there's a real lane for Lane Kiffin to step in and find a different drink sponsor that's more healthy, I guess, for his lifestyle.
Yes.
Look, I will always be a Coke guy. Yours a Coke or Pepsi family?
Yeah, I'm a Pepsi guy.
Really?
I'm a Pepsi guy.
Ditto.
Yeah, Pepsi guy.
I am very
Cola.
disappointed by it. You guys are un-American. I will always be Coke, and especially I get my Princess on with the Diet Cokes.
You're a Diet Coke guy. You want that
Diet Cokes, the
aspartame in your
DCs.
system,
Yeah,
baby.
I'm not happy about it, but
Literally, the real sugar is better for you than the aspartame.
I'm
Just
well
so
aware.
you know.
Yeah, I'm well aware.
Okay.
Poll questions up. Coke or Pepsi? There you go. There's your Crunch Time. Brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 a month. Find your Crunch Time Portland, Vancouver online at crunch.com. Ken Barkley is now/next. Lots of other things to get to in the final hour, including Saudi Arabia coming to college football. What? Loaded final hour next on The Fan.
Dusty here for Victoricos Mexican.
doesn't seem to matter what I do.
This is Ken Barkley of You Better You Bet on Dirt and Sprague.
What's the play?
The man who doesn't play when it comes to sports betting.
You know what? I like money. You know what? I don't like jokes.
Ken Barkley is here to stop Dirt and Sprague from making questionable decisions.
Are you serious?
Ken Barkley on 1080 The Fan.
It's so good.
Hey! The num always gets me. I forget it's still in there. Let's do this. Final hour. We're here. Final hour. Dirt and Sprague. 1080 The Fan. Live on YouTube. 99.5 HD2.
I'm bummed.
A very sad, somber day.
I'm like happy bummed. Can you
on
be
the
happy
program.
bummed?
I think you can be happy bummed. I think that's a thing.
Very happy for our guest. I'm very, very bummed.
It's like raising a bird back to life, and then the bird flies away. You're like, you're out into the wilderness now, little guy.
I don't think that's not at all what I'm
you
saying.
You go fly away, little
No.
birdie.
That's
Locky Lock is
not at all what I was saying.
Locky Lock, Ken Barkley.
His wings weren't broken.
Your broken wings. We shaped him back to life, man. Ken Barkley joining us now. This is it. So
where did this start?
Hold
Where
on.
did this come
Time out.
from?
Before we get into anything else,
So many questions.
There is tradition and history in this interview.
Oh, yeah.
Coke or
That's the
Pepsi?
random question. Oh, Coke or Pepsi? That's the random question?
Yeah.
Coke by like a lot.
Yeah.
With one disclaimer. So like, so here's the thing. Okay, Coke or Pepsi? Coke. Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi?
Ooh.
Diet Pepsi. Coke Zero or Pepsi Zero Sugar? Pepsi Zero Sugar. So it's actually like Coke over Pepsi is like I think that's like one of the easiest decisions on earth. But I think like in the diet and like, hey, it's actually diet, but we're gonna call it something different because it has zero in it. I think Pepsi's got those.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm sure the market share is like way more toward Coke, but I'm Pepsi. It's actually Pepsi 2 out of 3 when you break it down that way.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then listeners also wanted to know, Ken, we'll get to your announcement and why you're leaving us and abandoning us, and we're going to lose all of our money now. Was it the open that my co-host made? Was it like too over the? Did he come on too aggressive, and you were like, dude, I can't. I'm out. I can't do this anymore.
See, I think the listener was referring to me looking up his house when I sent him
Well,
a package.
it could be a
not the
combination of both, knowing where he lives and the open. Did we come on too strong, Ken? Is that what we did?
There are very few things that I feel like sad about in leaving and like leaving the show and not doing gambling content or radio of any kind anymore. There are very few things that are actually like really sad. I actually felt terrible that after years of coming on the show, you made an open for me the week before I left. like I was just like that sucks, man. Like you wrote, like you actually made an open, like you like put work into it. And after years, you were like, you know what? I'm finally going to do it. And I was like, well, I'm finally going to leave. Like that's really, that is terrible. Like I feel really bad. Like I actually feel really bad. That sucks. Like, I'm sorry.
You know,
and
first
I couldn't say anything.
Yeah.
Like, I had to be like,
You're probably thinking
yeah,
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
These poor
Well,
bastards.
awesome open. See you next week. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah.
Thanks for the apology. I do appreciate that. The funny thing is I went home, so my wife works at home, and I was making that open, played it, then I saw the announcement the next week, and I went, hey, remember that open I made? And she goes, the one that took you forever because you kept screwing it up and restarting. And I went, yeah, that one. And she goes, yeah, what about it? I go, the guy I made it for just announced that he's leaving the industry. And she goes, did you even play it once?
I'm announcing that I'm leaving you. Right. That's what
right. And,
Double whammy on top of it. I'm out too. I'm done. Get me out of here. So the listeners are at, we've told the story a few times because we saw this obviously and we reached out to you. But the listeners want to know why are we losing? Where's Ken Barkley going? What is Ken Barkley doing?
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm really pumped about it, and it's something that's been in the works for me for a while. I'm a weirdo. Which has, by the way, if you listen to 5 seconds of these interviews, comes across immediately. Why did I even have to say that? It's like I have a voice. Like, yeah, we got it. We can hear you. Like you have a voice. I've always kind of wanted to be a professional sports bettor and thought I could do really well at it if I needed a skill set and I needed some things that I was good at. But I always, in the back of my head for the last few years, it's always kind of been something where it's like, I would love to try that, and I think I could be really good at it. And, people listen to the show. I've had, we've talked about whether it's the Panthers or, Michigan or a bunch of the other fun things that have run through these interviews. Just it's been a really, really good couple of years for me doing this. And I think I have enough that works for me that I'm kind of confident in, that it's worth like making the jump. So I'm a weirdo. Like I've left a career before for this. Like I worked at ESPN for a long time and quit to do gambling content, which at the time was viewed as really weird, and it worked out great. And now I'm kind of doing the same thing again. Although, it's like leaving a sports betting show to bet sports is not, I'm not going to law school or something. This is not something totally different, but it's also like, it is way different. Like I'm not going to talk anymore. Like I'm not going to, I don't have to prep stuff to share with everybody and kind of think about the audience and what I'm going to say and, kind of really like be like in touch with my thoughts, which sounds like kind of a Confucius thing, but like I don't have to do that stuff anymore. It's like literally just me and betting, and hopefully it goes really well. But it's really one of those like, one of those regret things. We'll have stuff that we would like love to do at some point in our lives, and we don't want to get to like 50, 60, 70 and be like, oh man, I really wish I'd like tried to do that just because I thought I could be good at it. So we're giving it a shot. We're going to see how it goes. So I'm actually you are literally my last media obligation, like forever. Like this is it. Like I left the show. My last show was a week ago. I did one other media thing between then and now, and like you're it. Like this is the last chance for gas. Yeah, this is it. So we'll see how it goes.
So I have a follow-up question to that. It's very interesting. You have been very generous to us, and when I text you, I was kind of expecting either a thumbs up or like a hey, thanks for reaching out, but no. And
is there anything worse than the thumbs up?
Nothing worse.
Up sucks.
Yeah.
The thumbs up is awful. Yeah, I would rather be ghosted than have somebody be like, wow, I read your whole thing, and my response was to like hold my thumb on the screen for 2 seconds. That was my response. Like, wow, thanks so much for caring. Like, wow, that's so great. Like, thank you for that. I actually despise the thumbs up. All the emojis, like for the most part, like that you add to the iPhone message, like I'm good at all of them. The heart, I guess, like maybe puts you in a higher standing because like you had a choice of 6 options and you went with like the loveliest one. But like the thumbs up is like the most lukewarm. Like it's basically like, yeah, I saw this and you're not important enough for me to type letters. Like you're not important enough. You don't even get letters. You don't get characters. You just get like this stupid thing.
Well, I still want to ask the question, but I want to know, just for comedic effect and all honesty, 3 weeks ago, you did a segment on Brandon Ayuk, you and Nick, and I text you that I thought you guys did the best Ayuk stuff, and you only hit me with the thumbs up.
He gave me a thumbs up. That's all he got.
Do you know why I did that? Because I'm pretty sure you sent me that during the show.
Yeah. Right in the middle of a segment. Hey, Ken, great thoughts, man.
You don't get a message back. Yeah, I'm on the air. I'm on camera. You don't get the character.
No.
You don't get those when that happens. Yeah. So.
You just said that forever, and I know that on the show on your goodbye, you basically said you're taking at minimum a year off. So I've put on my calendar in the year of 2025, August, to not text you until mid-August next year because I do want to respect your wishes. But you just said forever. So one, what does it mean? Like, walk us through what is the day in the life of somebody choosing to be a professional sports gambler? And two, should I not send you a text next August? Are you fully committed to this forever being done? You have a lot of sports takes, good, insightful sports takes. If this goes well in the next year, I'm wondering if you're going to get the itch to share some of the brilliance.
Yeah, I mean, I think ideally, like, I would do it only because I liked it. I would do it not even for money because I would be doing so well that I would just do like I'd call you guys up and be like, hey, can I do like 20 minutes because I'm just bored and it's like I'm really rich now and everything's going great. So I think like the 1 year thing is just no media. Like I'm going to try not to tweet. Twitter's like the Green Goblin mask for me, though. Like on NFL Sunday, it's just, my phone's going to be staring at me with like a maniacal voice being like, did you just see what the Ravens did? Like, don't you want to share this joke you have? So maybe I'm going to tweet a little bit.
Or bad fantasy names, whatever gets you back on Twitter.
Exactly. Why I had to get that tweet out of the way before I went dark. I had to get that one. I mean, what are we doing there? Anyway, it doesn't matter. We don't have enough time to even begin to address that fantasy name. So the 1 year thing is just like, if I said yes to all the radio interviews and media and podcasts and like, oh, like let's have you on now that you're like a professional bettor, then like I should have just stayed on the show. Like I'm basically still a talent at that point. Like if I'm going to be really good at this, the whole point of doing it is to like immerse yourself totally in it. So yeah, no media for a year, but I even told Nick, my co-host, this. I go, look, if like a year from now it's gone awesome and it's actually like I don't need to be as rigid with not appearing on stuff. Like, yeah, I'll come on sometimes, maybe like once a month or like less often than that, but I'll be around, you know? So for you guys, it'd be the same thing. Like if we get to next football season and it was a crusher, awesome year, yeah, I'll come on for 20 minutes, talk to you about it for like how it's going or whatever. But hopefully my thing is hopefully it's just, if I'm ever on regularly again, then something bad happened.
Yeah.
Like something, and we don't want something bad to happen. We don't want to think like that. We want it to be like how good everything's going and these occasional check-ins. So, yeah, I mean, day in the life is just I'm in my office like the kids are at school all day. I'm like basically doing all my work on updating all my futures positions and stuff and what I like and awards and anything like random that comes up, reading a bunch of stuff. And then probably have the kids like when they get off the bus for the first time in their history at school, I will actually be able to get them off the bus, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
anybody who has kids can appreciate that. And, you know, we're on 3 to 7 Eastern. Anybody who has kids, that's get off the bus to bedtime. That's like that 4 hours. And I haven't had that. So I'll have that, which is awesome. And then they'll go to bed and it'll be games and like working in the office still and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, make your own hours, but it's also going to be a lot of work. So I'm really excited, but definitely not for everybody. I think a lot of people hear it and it sounds great. Oh, I could do that. Like, I would love to do that, man. Like, I work so many freaking hours in this box of an office that I work in that, like, I don't think people would really enjoy it as much as they think. It's not like, well, you just watch games and, like, bet winners and stuff. Be like, no, you don't really. Yeah, it's like, I don't even watch a lot of the games. Like, I don't even have time to watch a lot of the games, but I'm pumped for it. I'm psyched. And hopefully we're doing this a year from now. And it's, hey, it went great. How about that Super Bowl? How about that NBA Finals? Like, you know, hopefully we're sharing those stories.
Well, it's funny because we love you so much, Ken, that you have got us to do something next year in the NBA that I never thought that I would do, and that is root for the Oklahoma City Thunder because we know that you have futures bets tied to them.
Because they're going to win.
Exactly.
Right, you're going to root for them because they're going to win.
And I'm just like, I hate Oklahoma City. I hate that city. I hate that franchise. I hate everything about them. But I'm like,
why do you hate them?
Well,
they're like the least hateable franchise you could have.
My thing is,
not in the Northwest.
I grew up in Portland, and I'm like a weirdo here because people don't do this. I loved the Sonics.
Right,
I loved a lot of the Sonics.
They stole the team, and Clay Bennett's a bitch, you know, all that stuff.
So you have to. I mean, wherever they went, it's not about Oklahoma City.
No.
If they had moved to Juneau, Alaska, you'd be like, oil sucks.
Dude,
you know, you'd be
screw
like,
Juneau, man.
Oh.
Yeah,
bunch of bitches in Juneau.
I've actually been to both cities. They both are terrible, actually, Oklahoma City and Juneau.
My only follow-up to this no media stuff, Ken, is it socially acceptable to text you and ask if a line is a trap, yes or no?
Don't do it.
Can I ask, is that
not only is it acceptable, it's encouraged.
Okay.
Yes, please, because I'm not going to be as locked into like what certain numbers are, like NFL games. I'm not going to be as locked into. I pray that there's a Sunday where I get a note where it's like, man, it looks like the sports books are begging me to bet the Bengals, and be like, yeah, they're begging, all right, yeah, that's what they're doing.
I'm falling into the trap. They want my $25 bet, Ken. I'm falling into the trap. They're going to take my money again.
Yes, there's a big pie cooling on a windowsill, and Vegas has baked the pie, and you picked up the sense, and you are like a cartoon character being drawn across the room to eat the pie, not knowing that you have just been trapped.
See, this is why we're going to miss you, Ken. You get us. This is why we're going to miss you.
Well, we mentioned the NBA one. I think it would be a mistake of all the joking and having fun we usually do in these conversations. Look, you're riding off into the sunset in our eyes. Like, I'm really rooting for you. Genuinely enjoy having you on the show. You seem like a really good dude. I'm happy for you on the kid thing because I get to do that every day with my kids doing a morning show, and it is fantastic to see their faces coming off the bus. I feel like you have to ride off into the sunset, us riding together, your Super Bowl pick. Do you have that locked in your brain?
Well, why don't we do, let's do like every sport until next September, like rapid fire.
Yes.
We'll write these down. Why don't you write them down?
I'm going to do a parlay of all of these.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, parlay them, don't parlay them, whatever. Put them in an envelope.
Okay.
And then we'll time capsule this.
Yes.
And in a year. And by the way, these things always turn out horrific for whoever does the predictions. You'll be like, oh my God, you liked that team?
What
like
an
that's
idiot.
what it was? Yeah. What a moron. Oh, you bet professional? Yeah, me too. Yeah, I bet professional. So the first one will be college football, right?
Okay.
So college football, I'll pick Georgia because I actually think they're going to win, but they're also the favorites, so I guess that's whatever. NFL, my Super Bowl prediction, I really want to pick the Jets, but it's not smart. I'll say Chiefs over Lions.
Okay.
Okay.
God, I Turner. Let's skip that one. I don't even know who plays for anybody. I don't know. Who does Cooper Flag play for? Duke? Whatever. I'll take Duke.
Okay, Duke.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
I don't
yeah, it
care.
doesn't matter. We can't gamble college
You can even
anyways.
write like I don't. Yeah, write like I don't care.
I don't
next
care.
to it or something. That's
Yeah.
fine. NBA Thunder.
Yep.
Stanley Cup. I haven't looked at all, but like. Oh, I was trying to think of who's a really good team that hired a new coach. I'll do something crazy for this one.
Oh.
Give me the Maple Leafs.
Toronto.
Breaking the streak.
Yeah,
Love it.
New coach, and they're like usually that's the catalyst for a really good team to like do something. In hockey, it's like first year coaches win this or interim coach time. So let's go with them. Oh, and I forgot one. We missed one. The very prestigious. This will be good up in your neck of the woods. The MLS Cup.
Yeah.
I think we're like pretty interested in. That'll come up in like December. Actually, do a bunch of work on that. I will say I either want to pick the Colorado Rapids or the repeat champ will be the Columbus Crew. Let's write the Columbus Crew.
Columbus
for a
Crew?
repeat.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll beat maybe they beat Messi in the final, which would be really fun. So
Okay.
Wow.
I love it, man.
There you go.
I don't want this in. I don't want it to end.
I know, but it has to. He's on the way somewhere.
Yeah, where are you
probably
going? Are you
book
going on
and-
vacation or something? Where are you going?
I'm driving a friend of mine. I turned 40 last week, and like my best friend from here in Connecticut turns 40 this week. So we always do like a dual birthday thing.
Wait.
The dual birthday thing is golf for 2 days.
Okay, you're gonna go golf.
I am like driving out by the water, and we are playing like a very, very nice course like all afternoon. So,
All right, well, before you go, we got to play this since it was your birthday, you're 40, and your friend's in the car. We got to play this for you guys, okay?
All right.
Birthday, Mr. President.
How long did it take you to come up with that one? About 5 seconds?
Long time, yeah. That took a long time. That was a lot of creativity.
As long as the Open. Yeah,
Here is your final Ken Barkley image from our audience, wearing a sandwich board, walking his front yard that says Dirt and Sprague Liberation Day, pinwheel in one hand, malt liquor in the other, may or may not be holding a few Roman candles. We love you, Ken. Can we? Oh, by the way, hey, before Major League Baseball, we need your World Series pick.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Phillies, definitely.
Phillies, okay. I'm going to parlay all those, and I'm going to be a millionaire, and I'm going to become a professional gambler, and I'm not falling for traps anymore, Ken, because you showed me the way.
I'll see you on the trail, buddy.
Yeah.
I'll see you out there on the trail.
Hey, we have loved these every Thursday, Ken. We're genuinely going to miss you. Our audience is going to miss you.
Good luck to you,
We can't
Ken.
thank you enough.
Rooting for you, man.
Good luck. We're going to text you trap lines, and in a year from now, just come on and shoot the breeze. We don't even need gambling content. Just talk, thumbs up or Coke or Pepsi. That's all we want. Good luck, buddy, and thanks as always, man.
I love you guys, and I'll see you next fall. It'll be fun.
There you go. Ken Barkley, one last time.
Oh, I'm sad.
Oh, it's in the fields. Isn't it in the fields?
Dude, it's football season. That was our
I know.
weekly guy. Like,
know.
we got to talk a little football and then unplug and goof around a little bit.
I'm going to cook up this parlay during the commercial break. Chiefs, Thunder, Maple Leafs, Columbus Crew, Philadelphia Phillies parlay.
Yes.
I will let you know the odds
You
on
had a
those.
Georgia there, but we're
We
doing the
can-
app.
we-
Yeah,
you can't gamble on college.
Right.
So I will cook up that parlay. I think we should all, as one last homage to Ken, go place the Ken Barkley parlay. $1, $2, $3, whatever you want to do. Let's all
Look
go.
that up and see what the odds
I'll
would
let
be.
you know. We'll place the parlay, and we will be back with Saudi Arabia and college football next on The Fam.
It's time for a sports injury report. The injuries and rehab that impact the success of sports teams. Brought to you by Rock Orthopedic.
Can you please fill us in on everything you can about Tyreek Hill's apparent hand, wrist, thumb, something injury?
Yeah, I'm really good at thumb war. We lost.
That's a great
He is
answer.
so, have you seen the pictures of him, by the way, of when he got hired? It was like LinkedIn to now he's like a Miami cocaine kingpin.
Yes.
Tyreek Hill out of practice.
Yeah, I mean, a little concerning. You don't want Tyreek Hill to miss any time. It sounds like he'll be back in time for the regular season. They got question marks on their offensive line, and that's a little concerning.
Yeah.
But I also love the Dolphins' futures to win that division. I feel like they're kind of still flying under the radar with that great offense.
Sports Injury Report presented by Rock Orthopedic, board-certified specialists who diagnose and treat the widest range of orthopedic cases with care and expertise. To schedule an appointment with Dr. Shane Hanslick, visit rocpdx.com.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Colin Cowherd.
College football injects 25 wide receivers annually into the NFL, 8 or 9 stars annually. The Niners will be fine. Better this year with Ayuk, but probably fine by late this season or early
All right, welcome back in. Chuck calls in here. He agrees. Pepsi over Coke. Smart man.
No.
Hold
Hold on.
question is up. At Dirt and Sprague on Twitter.
Hold it.
Go vote. It's on Twitter. Go vote.
He specifically said, I'm a Pepsi family because he's a
Because Pepsi's
psycho
better.
and gets a 44-ounce big gulp Mountain Dew every day.
I mean, Mountain Dew is delightful, and it's in what family of networks?
Yeah, that would
No.
Pepsi Cola.
But he's not
Pepsi Cola
choosing
product.
Pepsi.
Pepsi
He's
Cola product.
Pepsi family.
Chuck knows what he's doing.
I also love Dr. Pepper. That's also part of that family. But
It's a better family.
That doesn't mean I'm Pepsi
My
over
family.
Coke.
My family's
You're not a
better.
Mr. Pibb guy?
Yeah.
Mr. Pibb's fine. There's a time and place, right? And if you has to, you drink a Shasta. But if Chuck had to choose between just a Pepsi and just a Coke, I think Chuck would choose a Coke.
No, he's choosing Pepsi. You choosing Pepsi?
Shaking his head.
He's going.
Yes,
He's shaking his head.
thank
Yes,
you.
he's going Pepsi. You can go vote at Dirt and Sprague on Twitter on the poll question: Coke or Pepsi.
Pepsi's main sponsor is like Ray Charles. He couldn't even enjoy it.
He could taste.
He couldn't see the can. The can is the
blind
selling
people
point.
can taste.
No,
you know,
I'm
they
saying
they have the ability.
that did come out wrong.
That did not come out right.
The can is a big selling point to the soda.
No.
And so it's are you attracted to the blue can or the red can?
And I'm a team blue.
It's the taste.
Team blue.
I bet you taste test it right now. Dirt and I would both choose Pepsi.
Well, you could tell that. I hate that. The Pepsi
you can
Coke
definitely
challenge,
tell
it's
the
the
difference.
dumbest
No, they
challenge.
tried this years ago, and people could not tell the difference.
That's a lie.
because
One's
they're
better than
idiots.
the other. That's why I can tell the difference.
It's a flat out lie that people couldn't tell the difference. And I'm well aware blind people can taste. Okay, I did not say that how I needed to say that. I'm saying the can attract you.
I think you're anti-blind people.
Okay, all right.
I think you got an issue with blind. I don't know why. I don't know
Great.
what they ever did to you,
Yep.
but doesn't
Say
make
one
any
thing
sense to me.
incorrectly.
I cooked up the parlay during the break. So a Kansas City Chief,
Okay.
Philadelphia Phillies.
So he's going a lot of favorites here.
He is. Toronto Maple Leafs.
Now that's a juicy one. That one has to be a pretty.
Those
good
are of
squeeze.
the teams the best, like the longest odds. Plus 1,300 for the Maple Leafs to win the
Yes,
Stanley
that's good
Cup.
value. Okay.
The Columbus Crew,
Which
plus 1,100, so they're like fourth, I think, on the list.
and they would be repeating. He said.
I believe I will take his word for it.
Yep.
And Oklahoma City Thunder, which is they have the second best odds. I mean, that makes sense. They're one seed, but plus 700. I did a $1 bet on this for all five to hit. $1 pays $60,000.
Can you do 10 for me? What's 10?
10. I mean, it just popped up. 10 was like $600,000.
Ooh.
I would be willing to lose $10
How much?
if
Yeah.
it got me $600,000.
Where is the first two that will be up?
You're
will
saying
be
which ones are going to be most problematic?
the Columbus Crew, because that title's in what? When does the MLS
It's
finish?
December.
December?
Yeah,
And then the Phillies will be in October. So you could be the start of the new year with two of the if the Phillies win the World Series and the Columbus Crew win the MLS Cup, there's an internal freak out going on here.
I wonder what that
because
offer
Kansas
would
City has they'd be three-peating, but they're the damn Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes.
But
And the Maple Leafs are probably the least trustworthy of the
because they're
bunch.
dealing with a curse and a little bit of a drought
They can't
here
win in the
and-
playoffs.
Right,
man. Yeah.
right. The Chief one, certainly understand the logic there. I, too, would probably also pick the Chiefs. One little stupid hit, and that whole season's ruined.
Yep.
And the NBA, one little stupid jump, and that whole season's ruined.
Well, the Ken Barkley parlay has been cooked up. I put my $1
Did you
bet
do
on
a
it.
$1?
I just did $1.
Why not do 5?
Because it's not going to win. To hit 5 champions, you realize
He
the odds
also
on
told
that.
you, by the way, not. He said you could parlay or not
Don't parlay it because it's not going to hit. That's
I
why I did $1. $1 for $60,000. What the hell?
I'll go
agree with
$5 for $300K.
There you go.
A $5 bill, a Lincoln.
There
That's
you go.
nothing.
You give him a Lincoln for $300K.
Yeah.
I've
That's a house.
lost $20. Like I just literally couldn't find it. I never found it.
But that $20 ain't going to turn into $600,000.
I'm the wrong kind of person to talk to about this. I am so in on any lottery ticket bet. Like any of these parlays are like, yeah, $5.
Imagine
Why
betting
not?
$20 and winning $1.2 million.
I've only done $2 to like 600, and now I feel like I missed out because of social media. So.
People are now texting in Ray Charles jokes.
I love Ray Charles.
I
I,
mean,
did not
he
say
can't
it how
taste.
I
He
didn't know. I didn't say that. You
Check
took
the tape.
it there.
I think that's what he said. He can't taste.
I didn't say that.
I think he said all blind people can't
His taste buds don't have eyeballs. They can't see what's going on in there, and they're just like, "What are we eating? What are we drinking?"
You know those 4 senses are actually increased when they go blind.
By the way, big upset, him going Pepsi over Coke. It's from Georgia.
Sure it is.
Who paid him more money?
Yeah, probably Pepsi.
yeah.
Pepsi was
All right.
desperate, man.
Well, I'm
He
gonna
did
miss-
have a good jingle for Pepsi. I'll give him that.
He did. He had a great Pepsi jingle. He did. even though he couldn't taste it. Let's try and get back on track here.
Well, that's impossible.
It is at this point. There is a story that's like almost. Maybe I'm alone on this of reading it and being like, "Are you kidding? This actually happened in college football?"
I think it's funnier stemming like where it stems
from the team.
Yeah, I think what the team makes a difference.
So let's go ahead. If I'm assuming most of the audience hasn't seen this yet or read this. There is a team in college football that sent somebody to Saudi Arabia to talk to the Saudi Public Investment Fund to ask about NIL donation. Like, can you fund our NIL? You got a lot of money sitting over here.
Cost him a coach.
Can we get $1 billion? Guess what team did it? Vancouver Ford text line 503-864-6326. We'll get to that coming up next. First, here's Schultze with SportsCenter.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
This update is brought to you by A&E Plumbing, Heating, and Air, serving Portland, Southwest Washington, and the Gorge, online at aneheatingandcooling.com. It's hard to stop a train. First, on the Fan, the Seattle Mariners just can't get out of the cellar. They get swept by the Los Angeles Dodgers last night, 8-4 the final for the series finale. Starter Logan Gilbert giving up 8 runs in just 4 2/3. That made a 1-8 road trip official for Seattle, moved them to 500 at 64-64. They're off today before hosting the Giants for a 3-game set starting tomorrow. Elsewhere, the Red Sox do beat the Astros 4-1. It keeps the M's within 5 games of first in the AL West, but there are just 34 games remaining in the regular season. In college football, Iowa head coach and known scoring hater Kirk Ferentz being suspended for 1 game for a violation related to the recruitment of transfer quarterback Cade McNamara. In the NFL, you've got the final week of the preseason kicking off tonight. The Bengals hosting the Colts at 5 p.m. on Amazon Prime. Then the Chicago Bears taking on the Chiefs in Kansas City at 5:20 p.m. on NFL Network. A trade happening this morning as well. The Washington Commanders acquiring kicker Cade York from the Cleveland Browns for a conditional 7th-round pick. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schultze at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
One number does it all for contests and texting your favorite fan shows. The Vancouver Ford text line is 503-864-6FAN.
So what are you reading?
I'm
All right, just need a quick round of applause to the listening audience there. The Vancouver Ford text line is a lot of fun to read right now, and we love you all. One said even Ray Charles could see that Chris Olave was the number one receiver on the Saints.
Wow.
We got Stevie Wonder, Dr. Dre, Kevin Hart jokes about is he calling at 5 a.m., 5 p.m. Those are coming in. One listener said, tune in tomorrow to hear Sprague trash Helen Keller's driving abilities. Way to go, Sprague. God, dude. We're an inclusive community on this show, man. Just come out bashing blind people.
Have you heard the,
I bet Sprague saw when that USC center got in. He was all pissed off. Why is this guy in the game?
Have you heard the
like a reverse Clay Travis?
Oh, God. Get him out of there.
You've heard the Stevie Wonder Shaq story, right?
No, I don't think I have the Shaq story.
I can't remember who he was
text
telling this
police have been
to,
great.
but a
Oh,
podcast or whatever. But he was in an elevator with Stevie Wonder, or walking into an event with Stevie Wonder, and he was claiming he does not believe Stevie Wonder's actually blind.
Oh, that's a big theory.
Because he just was walking where he knew where to go, basically.
No, Stevie was like, hey, what up, Big Shaq? Like, he knew exactly who Shaq was.
You could sense the presence.
Yeah, like, just, I don't know if it's 300 pounds walking near him and he knows it, but yeah, there is a kind of a prevailing
It's always
theory
been like this dark interweb theory that people have said about Stevie
that
Wonder.
he is not
It's a
actually
long
blind.
time to keep that bit up if that wasn't
That's
true.
a long run. It's a long gag. He's going to pull it at the last second, pull off the glasses. JK, just kidding, when he's like 90 years old.
That's his sign-off.
So I asked the question, which college football program would go after Saudi money to boost their NIL funds?
It's a fairly obvious answer here, right?
Yeah, we got a lot of people are texting in Miami,
Yeah,
Florida
that's a good one.
State,
Okay.
Auburn. Got to be a Texas team, Texas A&M, Ole
Auburn's
Miss.
not a bad one.
We've got a lot of those that have come in. That is not the answer. The answer is, do you believe now? The Colorado Buffaloes. So this randomly, there was a thing in the news earlier this week that I didn't pay much attention to. Their special teams coordinator just resigned. Like a week before the season starts, was like, I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. He bounced.
And he's been with Deion since Jackson State.
He's been in Deion for a while, right? And so that's always like, you see a headline, they're like, that's kind of weird. Why would a coach just up and leave 2 weeks before the season starts? Well, SI did a piece on this. They sat down with him, and he is claiming that Colorado, they were trying to be on the forefront of innovative business ideas, and this guy was not only their special teams coordinator, but he was also the guy that was behind the scenes trying to wrangle up funding for their program, and that he said that he spent time in the Middle East this past holiday season lobbying Saudi Arabia's public investment fund for name, image, and likeness funding on behalf of Colorado football, which is what he put in his resignation letter to Rick George, their athletic director. He said the arrangement was that because I did all the NIL work at Jackson and I got us through, you guys would pay me a modest salary and make me a special teams coordinator, which should have freed up my time for me to handle more NIL activities. You pay me $90,000 a year and let me handle special teams. I did all this work in your name, and I was told to pursue it. I burned through all my contacts in the Mormon community, so I'm assuming he's Mormon, which is about $3 trillion. Now I can't get these people to answer my calls because I just found out today that none of my endeavors will happen. I went to Saudi Arabia, got a meeting with the Saudis who were interested in pursuing business. I have email receipts to prove it, and you guys let it fall flat on its face. He said he did nothing illegal. I was just trying to help Colorado, and this one... This is a headline.
Of course, it's Colorado.
It's
right?
going to circulate, and it's Deion going after Saudi money to buy his team.
Well, look, he's not going to be. They're not going to be the only college program that probably does this. Always looking for more money. We're seeing pro sports leagues get into bed with the Saudis. We know Live has obviously popped up and been a big deal. I just laugh that it's Colorado.
Yeah. Of all the teams that would try this avenue.
I don't think you'd be shocked by this, but they're only returning 2 coaches from last year's staff in the same spots.
Do you believe now? Warren Sapp's there, though. That's going to, that'll be the game changer.
Yeah, Warren Sapp.
I'll never forget being at
Autzen
last year when they were in town, and that was a very anticipated game. Colorado was undefeated. That was Schulte and I were down there on the field for it. That atmosphere was incredible.
Talking a lot of S pregame.
They were talking a lot of S, and I'll never forget walking on the Colorado sideline. They have an actual offensive coordinator. They have actual wide receiver coaches, and seeing them allow Terrell Owens, who just wanted to be on their sidelines, run their wide receiver warm-up drills before the game.
T.O. was there
and
running drills?
Street clothes. Just here, you go here. They're throwing ball, his teams go through their warm-ups pregame, and I'm like, he's not a coach. He's not.
This just has
on the staff.
Look, this isn't a hot take, and you've heard this probably a million times. It just doesn't feel like it's going to end well.
No, it does not. So Colorado,
but their over-under is 5.5.
There's literally an entourage of 15
Let me look at their
people
schedule.
following Dion.
If you pick, well,
At the odds
you
of
already are worried they lose their first game.
I mean, North Dakota State's not a pushover, and then you got to go to Nebraska. That is not an easy place to go in and win.
Well, and they barely won last.
And they barely won last year with a quarterback who couldn't catch a snap for Nebraska.
So that's the interesting thing is they're turning over their entire offensive line. And yeah, they have Shadur and they've got Hunter.
Good luck, Buffs.
But like you lose Hunter for a couple weeks, then what do you have?
Yeah, so you go their schedule. They got North Dakota State, Nebraska, obviously to start at Colorado State, and that was a game they damn near lost.
They
last
should
year.
have lost that game. Yeah.
Baylor at home, at UCF, Kansas State at home, at Arizona, home against Cincinnati, at Texas Tech, home against Utah, at Kansas, home against Oklahoma
You're
State.
naming teams that have like real expectation this year.
I don't know what to expect from Cincinnati this year. I don't really know what to expect from Baylor this year.
Questionable. I don't know what
surprise.
Iran is.
I have no clue what Colorado State has. I'm not even going to pretend to know their roster.
But they almost beat them last year, and we didn't know anything.
They
about
almost
them.
beat. I mean, you're asking me to take the over/under. I'd take the under on that. That's not a super easy schedule. Primarily because I think there's a good chance you're 1-1 out of the gate.
Yeah, I think they're going to lose to Nebraska.
That first game of the year, I want to say, is a Thursday night game. Is that a week from today?
I'll go check.
I think it is because today's 22nd. That's the 29th. It's a 5:00 game on ESPN. So that's a primetime game against North Dakota State on ESPN. Because they're going to start next week when you get into week one. You get some of those weeknight games and the Sunday night game and the Monday night game and all that. So I think that game's next Thursday night. It's a week from today. We get Colorado, North Dakota State.
Yeah, you're right. 5:00 ESPN.
One other quick college football note. I did chuckle at this. So Colorado's going after some money from Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Kirk Ferentz getting suspended for the illegal recruiting of Cade McNamara
Yes.
is one of the funniest headlines I've seen in a while.
Right.
They can't score. He sucks, and they cheated to get him. It's like when Connor Stallions was cheating to beat Michigan State, who won, 3 games last year?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, Michigan, you really need to cheat to beat Michigan. You're cheating to bring in Cade McNamara? Cade McNamara? That's the guy you cheat to. If you're going to cheat, go pay for Cam Newton. What are we doing here?
I don't like this term we're using here. Cheat. What, he probably texted Cade McNamara a day too
an
early.
illegal contact.
It's
something
so
like that.
stupid how this is labeled in general, but pretty funny he's going to miss a game over Cade McNamara.
Cade McNamara, who completed 51% of his passes last year for 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions at Iowa.
And has reportedly had an awful camp.
Awful camp.
Like, pretty legendary bad stuff.
They play Illinois State in their first game, so that's the game that Kirk Ferentz is suspended for.
Well, you just hope
Cheating
that
bastard.
it's not Schultz's biggest game of college football season, them playing Ohio State.
That's right.
That could change things.
Iowa, it's a big deal.
Pushing the under for that game already.
Yeah, bet the under on
Bet
any
the under in
it
every
is.
Iowa game.
Any Iowa game. All right, let's wrap it up. We'll answer the poll questions for you. We'll get Sprague all hyped for his Hood to Coast run, and we'll close it up next on The Fan.
It's the The Fan.
Good point here. You know who didn't see Kirk Ferentz getting suspended?
God damn it, dude.
Ray and Stevie, man. Never saw it coming.
No,
never saw it coming.
Oh, wow.
Can't wait to go run Hood to Cuss and not be here tomorrow.
No, this is it. This is your Friday. You're all done. If there was a fast food chain to launch a streaming platform, which one would you want to watch their content of? Because this has happened. Did you see this yesterday?
I did see this, and I was so confused, I just did not bother to read about it.
Chick-fil-A is moving aggressively into the entertainment space. That's what the article reads, exclusive, with plans to launch a slate of originals for its own streaming platform. Deadline understands the fast food firm has been working with a number of major production companies, including some of the studios, to create family-friendly shows, particularly in the unscripted space. It's also in talks to license and acquire content. Are we going to download the Chick-fil-A app and stream their family-friendly shows?
Is their first show going to be Cam and Mitch spinoff from Modern Family?
Doubtful.
No?
I think that's doubtful.
Okay.
Probably not. Although, how big of a bombshell would that be?
Is this like Kirk Cameron starring as? I mean,
it's basically going to be Hallmark movies. Are you telling Chick-fil-A is going to have Hallmark movies?
What is Chick-fil-A really? Are they going to dabble in any controversy?
Which fast
at all?
food? No chance.
Do they air on Sunday?
No, they don't. Hell no, dude. The app doesn't work on Sundays.
Like it just goes blank?
It does. You can't click it. You can't open it. Of all the fast food restaurants, who would have the best streaming content? It has to be McDonald's, right? You think Burger King would?
Bro, Burger King.
McDonald's already has all the built-in characters. Like you could already bring them all out.
That's
They're already
true.
there.
Yeah, they're selling cups at old McDeezy's, and I was looking at that going like, what would a Hamburglar show be like?
Just exactly.
Does he grow up and start stealing other things that are really risky and controversial?
Yes. Yeah, I'm all for it.
He's breaking into ladies' apartments.
What happened
What's
to
he
that guy,
stealing?
dude?
Well, we can't talk about that. You'll have to find out next week.
Ronald McDonald was arrested last night. What the hell?
Have you seen some of those, dude? So this new, like the Grok AI thing that you can create images of, I think it's the Twitter thing. There is no restrictions on what you can do.
The what?
So I think it's called Grok.
Okay.
And it's basically an AI image generator.
All right.
And I think it's through Twitter. And there's like most of them have like parameters of like if you type something in that's effed up, it's not going to make it for you.
Okay.
And this does not have any parameters.
Oh, this one's like.
And there's like pictures of like Ronald McDonald murder, like just, and those are going like, what are we doing here? Why is this
a Ronald and Grimace murder mystery where they're the murderers?
We had with Pooh and Piglet. Remember the murder Winnie the Pooh
one?
Winnie the Pooh was killing people.
That's right.
Give me Mayor McCheese as the detective, and I'm all in on that one.
I'm still waiting for a Barney one where he eats the kids.
Yeah.
You know?
Turns out I love you. I eat you. You know, one of those. Poll questions today.
No, but seriously, what would Chick-fil-A air that would be interesting?
Nothing. I mean, nothing.
No, it will be all Hallmark-like content.
Yes.
It's going to be all soft.
Yeah.
Feel good.
Yeah.
Nothing.
We never talked about it on the show. Did you see they're doing a Kansas City Chiefs Hallmark movie?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think Mahomes is in it.
I hope, God, please
no.
Well,
I think it's just like, so they're licensing the
NFL.
NFL.
Reed's in it. I think Andy Reed's
in the movie.
Because Kelsey's going to be in Happy Gilmore too.
I did see that headline.
Yeah, the NFL licensed this to Hallmark and then is giving them a few of the Chiefs, and it's just going to be a nice little
I already hate that team. My
collaboration.
wife's going to turn that movie on in December, and I'm just going to hate them even more.
I mean, I'm going to watch it and love it and then hate them.
Are you
on
a
the
Hallmark
field.
guy?
Oh, I'm a Hallmark Christmas movie fiend.
You are a quagmire.
A freak in the sheets and
you are a quagmire.
And a
dude.
Hallmark guy. What a full circle show right
What
there
a
from
day.
Schulte.
What a
From
Schulte
joint
day.
showers 75% of the time to Hallmark movies. I did not see that full circle being made.
Well, he's
I am
really
deep and I'm
romantic.
mysterious.
He is.
Yeah. He's very intimate, and then they cuddle up and watch these Hallmark movies.
Is the NFL lacking rivalries with hate? 74% of you say yes. I agree. That's where I voted.
Yep, some people were saying corporate shills, basically. It's too corporatized to have the same level of hate.
True level of hate.
Yeah.
Which sport currently has the best rivalries? 78% of you, rounding up, say college football. One listener said, this is why college football will always be over the NFL for me, is that's still, like Michigan and Ohio State still means, the Iron Bowl still means something when these teams play, and you still get that at least for the most part in college football. Coke or Pepsi? Coke is dominating, 71% of the vote early on. You going to listen to the show tomorrow during your first leg?
Probably not.
Come on, man.
I will not be in a
I'll
good
get you
cell
pumped up.
zone to start up.
Give you like a techno beat underneath the segment.
Yeah. I just want my leg to be okay. Just want to be able to get through this.
Get through it.
Get to the
70.6.
coast.
Is that what you're doing? 17.6?
17.46. Yeah, it's one of those two.
Okay. Well, good luck, buddy.
Thank you.
I'm going to buy you a sticker. For your next birthday, I'm going to buy you.
Make sure it says 17.6, comma,
I'll find one.
bitch.
Comma, bitch.
Comma.
7 year. My Brady year.
Yeah.
It's my Brady year.
Your Brady year.
Yep.
7 years, man. I
6
remember year
medals.
1 when you got the tattoo. Like it was yesterday.
That was year 1.
I know, but you did it, and then you
Yeah.
got the tattoo after that, after
Yeah.
you completed it.
Yep.
There you go. Good little show. If you missed it, we did have Josh Pate on. His verbal commitment stuck, and he was awesome talking college football. And we had our bon voyage to
Yeah.
Ken Barkley, which was very sad.
It was very sad. Have a good show Friday.
It'll be a Friday show.
A football Friday.
A legitimate football Friday tomorrow.
You got Florida State to talk about.
I might go to Georgia. I might get somebody on from my Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Go
live
live
from
to a Dublin pub.
Be kind of cool, wouldn't
Like,
it?
hey, what do you guys know about Florida State and Georgia Tech?
Absolutely nothing. But I bet they're going to be there, and they're excited. That will do it for us, folks. Thanks so much for being a part of our Thursday. If you missed the show again, go check the podcast, 1080thefan.com, at Turton Sprague and at 1080thefan. Thanks, everybody, for watching on YouTube. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so yet. Good luck to everybody running the Hood to Coast this weekend. I'll talk to you tomorrow at 6 a.m. Schulte, awesome job this week.
Appreciate you, brother.
You brought the
guys.
heat with Joe Mauer and Andrew Jones today. You pissed everybody off.
That's a bad takes, but it's all right.
Well done. Swag will be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll talk to you at 6 a.m. Calling us next. Listen to 1080 The Fan.
I'm Sister Crick with BetQL. You want to beat the books? The Indiana Fever are the hottest team in the WNBA since the restart after the Olympic break, and we all know why. Caitlin Clark. The Fever are averaging 90